Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fabulous Tuesday. If you're unaware, it is snowing here in Oklahoma.
That's crazy.
What is happening? It is April. The new set of Flesh and Blood is going to come out relatively soon. Currently slated for May 7th. I believe that's going to happen, and I am hyped more than any time I've been hyped in recent memory for a game and a release. I don't know that I've been this excited about something coming out since maybe
the iPhone 3.
It was actually the iPhone 4. Built-in HD camera. I could get rid of my flip cam. Remember that? It was, it's on my phone now. This is way easier. But really, though, I think the last time I felt anywhere near this was the initial release of Destiny.
Okay,
Which was a very exciting moment.
Hitching the Star Wars bones.
It's amazing.
Doing
I'm just really excited.
I mean, I'm out of control as well.
You're well hyped?
You would know that if you're in our Discord. Pop in at random times at night saying all sorts of nonsense. What we're going to do today...
Tell me more.
Because it is the season, as you guys know.
Are you wearing this clip to this and not your shirt?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure.
Just don't move the mat really quickly or you might...
We do any sudden motions, all of a sudden the game board's going everywhere.
What was that called? Garrote. Yeah, it's Garrote. Anyway. So we're going to talk about all the previews. It's going to be an old-fashioned TC talks about things you may care about stream. We're going to go from top to bottom. We're going to start with light, and then we're going to move in. Like we're going to start with Light Warrior, and then we're going to go the general feeling of light. We're going to talk about Brute, Shadow Brute. We're going to talk about all this stuff. Try to define a little bit about what we're learning about the classes and the talents. Speculate probably quite a bit, and have a good time and enjoy it. So we may get to a game today, we may not. But if you're here just to enjoy the kind of pulsing just insanity of Flesh and Blood right now, I know pulsing is kind of a dangerous word to say out loud, then you're in the right place.
There are worse words.
Totally.
Yeah.
Throbbing.
So just the general excitement of the game, right? I mean, we could play, but ultimately it's that weird spot where I'm really excited about the next release, like super, super amped. But it almost makes you less excited to play now.
It's true. Isn't this the grand problem with preview seasons? So we've seen this. This is what Fab's doing it right. Because okay, fine. You get 3 weeks where you're just like so obsessed with the new stuff that maybe you don't want to crack open your old Azalea deck that probably never win again. But what you do not want to do is spoil things a month and a half early, and then it's like, oh, I know the next pack that's coming
3
out,
months
the
early.
next release that's coming out. I don't want to play,
Because
I'm
ultimately,
thinking about the future.
This happened with Destiny
It's not
a lot,
very Buddhist of
where
us.
it's like, oh, there's a new card coming out that makes Yoda really good, so I'll wait to play Yoda until that card comes out.
Right.
But then the set comes out, and well, actually, there's a new Obi-Wan I'm more excited about, so I'll play that. And then you never end up playing Yoda.
And then you just leave the game.
And then you're out.
Yeah.
Then you play Flesh and Blood a couple years later, and everything's fine.
Andy Liu here saying Wall Street is reporting in now. Now tell me about. I'm not on the Flesh and Blood Wall Street.
I literally
channel.
took a stroll down Wall Street just earlier this morning.
So is it just about like speculating? Is this like a Wall Street Bets Reddit situation? Is everybody talking about how are they making fun of themselves constantly, or is it like actual discussion about the game, etc.?
There is a Discord channel for Flesh and Blood that. I say it's the Discord channel. There's like 4,000 people in it. But it's not official. It's not like a Legend Story Studio Discord channel. Generally, it's just a Discord channel.
Here's a fun story, Zach. It took me a lot of work to find an invite link to that thing.
Well, it's like a Fight Club.
Yeah. I typed in Discord Flesh and Blood Reddit because I knew that somebody would have requested it on Reddit. Found the thread. Boom. Found the link.
So it wasn't that crazy.
Well, less skilled Googlers.
It's like a good bar. It's like the area of town to go to.
If you asked my mom to find that Discord link, she would end up turning the printer sideways.
I assume that your mom would not be looking for that link.
Yeah, safe assumption.
Anyways, so Wall Street is a channel inside of that Discord.
Yeah.
That is, and it's, aptly named, for discussions related to the collectability and market forces behind Flesh and Blood. Mm-hmm. So there are channels for like buying and selling and that kind of stuff, but it's literally just like the discussion of it. So it is kind of like the Wall Street Bets subreddit, where like people are like, this stock, I think this is a really good stock, HODL,
buy Twin and Blade now,
et cetera.
Kind of thing.
But speculating on price is really funny because like literally earlier someone was saying, in terms of the Wall Street timeline, I feel like I've missed centuries of things happening here because I'm new. And there's people were reminiscing about the day not that long ago when you might pay $2, $3, or $4 for a common cold foil, right? Like a breaking scales kind of equipment or whatever, which is now hundreds of dollars, right? And like there was I remember we were restocking our singles, and I was like, maybe I should just go ahead and buy all the cold foils I don't have, so I can just have the set. And it was like $4, $5, $6 a piece, and it was like, I'll wait. Like I'll let other people have this, and when we restock. Which I didn't know that we would never be able to restock again, right? And that just happens.
Sometimes it happens. Would you say the culture is similar to like Alpha Investments, Rudy, language, vocabulary, culturally? Is it that kind of a vibe?
I mean, Rudy,
which is not a bad thing because Rudy's very entertaining to watch. So I would probably,
he is very funny.
I'd probably just scroll through the channel, giggle at the fact that I don't have to worry about any of that because I've got somebody juiced in, and then go to bed.
So Rudy is a character. Right,
I've heard.
He's funny, and he's trying to be entertaining. I think I've never met Rudy, but
I bet it's pretty similar.
Like what's the real Rudy like? But
yeah, I bet pretty similar. Just like how Rodney is like an absolute terror to be around when he's not on camera.
Just horrible. Yeah, and like you hear about famous people all the time. Anyways, there's a bunch of people in there that all care about whether it's collecting or investing or how much my card's worth or how much this is worth or is this a good deal or even this morning tons of speculation about how many of those promo Scarface scars were really printed?
That's a common question. We should never tell the answer to that.
I don't ever intend to.
Yeah, a comet would hit Earth and we would all explode.
But there's people that are really serious about it. There are people that just like to speculate but don't own that much.
Right.
So there's all kinds of different people in there. And there's people at different levels. Some people are like, oh, I think the foil first edition Rune Chant token from Crucible is going to someday be worth a lot. So I bought 50 of them at whatever, right?
Yeah, and this is the grand question about the whole, all of the market forces that are happening now on a very democratic level is like, well, is you talking about how this is valuable and you bought it now causing other people to buy it and therefore think it's valuable and therefore your investment now goes up? Like, are you manipulating the public opinion? Ultimately?
I mean, I think we've seen this. Some people have the audience, and Rudy might be one of these people.
Is that the entire Alpha Investments business model, which has been suggested?
Yeah, it's like, hey, this Pokemon box is going to be hot. And then all of a sudden, everyone's buying it, so it is hot. Right. And then it's like, well, he's right. So next time he says, this is going to work, it's like, well, I'm going to believe it because it's going to happen, right?
It's classic, yeah.
So it's push and pull. But no, it's a great little, I enjoy being in there and sometimes participating in that conversation because like...
Stirring some pots every now and again?
I think it's mostly entertaining and interesting for me because I'm not approaching it actually from that perspective. Like I have things that are worth a certain amount of money, but I'm not planning on selling it. I'm just fascinated by it. Yeah. By the fact that there's actually a market, like a real thing. So I enjoy just being able to partake in it, even though I'm not like, sitting on 100 first edition boxes of something situation, right? So,
yeah. Yeah, good. Well, these are good. These are good moments. To consider.
It's interesting. Also, Adam earlier asked. I wanted to get to this. He said, "So, will subscriptions go out prior to the 7th, so we can open it on the 7th?" Right? Right? We do aim for release day.
Delivery.
I was gonna say receipt.
We aim for it. Do you want me to tell them the squeeze that we're in? Do you want me to tell them the reality of the business here?
Well, we also don't want to break street day.
Yeah, that's it. So essentially, you have this pocket, right? And it's like, if you deliver a box one day early, you're breaking street date.
You never get to sell the product again.
Now, technically, a publisher who has a street date can say, we're never selling to you again. You've broken the policy that we all agreed to so that we have a universal release. So we can't risk that.
But sometimes the publisher, we did a podcast on this like a week or two ago, but sometimes the publisher breaks their own street date.
Yeah, sometimes that doesn't matter. But you still got to kind of abide by it because you don't know if they're going to make you play by the rules when they're not. But so we don't want to do that. We don't give Legistor any reason to have any kind of complications like that. But then on the other side, you want to get those boxes there on release day if possible, because like that's the best thing is you get it the moment that it's available. So we try to thread that needle as perfectly as possible, but we will always err on the side of, if it doesn't get there by release day, at least we haven't broken the street date. So we just have to be very careful. So usually that means shipping 1 to 2 days ahead of time based on projected delivery dates on where you are in the country. Now we're in Tulsa, which is in the middle of the country, which is very helpful for us. So most everywhere is at least like 2 days. So like 2 days to the west, 2 days to the east, sometimes 3.
2 to 3 days is like 99% of shipments from us.
That's right. So we try to balance it, but we do have to be careful. So if we would love to be more accurate on release day delivery, but we do have to be conservative on that note. But we will ship it almost entirely, I think 100% of the time before the release day, which I believe is different than pretty much every other online retailer.
Unless something goes horribly wrong.
Release. Yeah.
Which is not common.
So be careful.
Bradley, with a good point here, says, better one day late than never again.
That's right. I agree with that. And we're talking about Rodney on Watch It Played. It's a total joke. Rodney's actually maybe nicer in person than he is on his videos.
Yeah, he is. He's at least as nice as in real life than he is on video.
He's a great person. We're very good friends with Rodney.
A kind offer saying, if you send my boxes early, I will promise not to open them until the 7th.
Oh, well.
Okay,
Take
done.
that to the bank. Huh?
Just kidding.
Put cash in that one. I'm going to put that one in my bank account. You ready to get started here? Now, somebody was asking, are we aware of the new previews? And the answer is not only are we aware of the new previews.
Were there more previews since we streamed last week?
No.
I thought we were just talking about the same cards again.
This guy. Yeah, so the new previews that were just posted are already in the system. We got a system. We got Jonathan and Bryce on the case. I mean, it's already done.
It feels like the marketing team around these parts maybe deserves lunch or something.
Everyone's looking for a raise, man.
Oh, raises.
We
skip straight past lunches and go straight to raise.
Here's your Wall Street channel. I would like more cash, please. That's what I'm looking for.
Hold on, here's my pocket. Just put it right.
I'm gonna be on Dropbox, so I'm not like texting anybody. So it's not like when you're at dinner with a friend and they're just like on their phone and it's awful. So I'm not doing that. I just want you guys to know that I'm looking at the previews on my phone.
Adam's saying, who is even opening first edition on the 7th? I thought everyone was either just storing or flipping them. I'm opening them on the 7th. I'll say that much. I know there's a lot of people that are actually the same.
Yeah, we're gonna look at opening some products on stream. I just don't know when it's gonna happen. We're working that out. You got the previews up? Are you ready to do this?
I'm ready.
You ready to dive in? Everybody out there ready?
One question from Mamit real quick. So do you feel like the prices are self-fulfilling? Oh, a lot of chat going on. People believe they'll go up, so they go up. And do you think that's
kind of the story of all prices, isn't it?
I mean, if there's an underlying demand for these things.
Don't people say that finance is just psychology, or economics is all psychology?
I mean, what's a dollar worth, really?
Yeah.
What you'll give me for it.
Well, or I could fold it up and fly it as a paper plane.
There is use there, or burn it in like a fire or something. It wouldn't
can't
be
burn
great.
That's illegal, apparently.
Is it really?
Yeah, you can't take currency out of the circulation. Otherwise, you could control interest rates at large levels. If you burnt $1 bajillion,
too much money,
you could screw up the central bank.
You know what? There's a principle there, but there's a certain amount of demand there. Like
Ron Paul 2012, man.
The thing about it is like there's demand that people that want to buy it and own it.
Yeah.
And then there's demand from people that are buying it strictly as a financial vehicle.
Right.
And that it's like you need this engine going for the prices to go up. But like all things, eventually, if it goes up too high, then the demand will go down to a point where it stabilizes, right? Because that's regardless of why the demand exists. But it's possible, it's less likely that the demand to own for collecting and playing purposes goes away as much as the financial side. Where like if people stop believing that it's worth as much as it is.
Well, it's worth as a collection if nobody's playing it. True?
Well, not true.
Not true for baseball cards.
That's anti-true.
I suppose people could just trade them as mini pieces of art, but it really helps if there's an active group of people that need these cards to play the hobby.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
A good example of this is Shiana, the card, and then we'll get into discussion, I promise, which is, from a pure print run standpoint, I think there's more Shiana than there is of the legendaries from the first two sets.
Mm-hmm.
But she's still worth more currently, like selling for more. And the reality of that is, from a strictly financial standpoint, that doesn't make any sense. But it's all about demand. So there's more people that want to own Shiana than want to own tectonic plating, as an example. Particularly, there's more people as it relates to the supply that's available, which is why the price is going up. But if a bunch of people believe it's worth money and so they start buying it, obviously demand's going to keep ticking up. Same with the stock.
Right. Stocks
aren't based on what a stock's actually worth.
Yeah.
It's what people think it's worth.
Idea.
Right? And so it is related. It absolutely is related. And it's possible that the bottom would fall out of any investment. But at the same time...
Except for a house. Although I suppose you could literally drop out. The bottom could drop.
The difference between the house as an asset is that you can use the house.
Yeah.
Like if I bought a
to
house,
live.
even if it went to 0 value on the market, it's still my house that I get to use. So that's why it's an asset that, like, physical assets are things people are willing to purchase. Same with the card. You can always look at it and play with it as an asset, but
it won't keep you alive.
the value of your 8th Shiana is not super tangible.
Yeah, well,
You know.
you maybe. Hey, let's talk about Flesh and Blood. And we're just going to run it down. I'm going to start with Sir Bolton here. So
Sir Bolton, Breaker of Dawn.
Here's what we know. Do you want to do the mic? Do you want to do like the official microphone?
Butter mic?
Let's butter up.
What's the radio talk? You can text us. We'll have the number pop here if you want to ask questions, or you can
ask
chat,
questions through our community platform.
I won't actually answer the community platform during this, but maybe after.
I'll be speaking differently now that I've got this microphone.
Hey, is Bolton on the screen smaller than normal?
No, not at all.
I feel like it normally covers more of where you would be sitting, but it actually looks fine right now.
No, it's right. Now I'm gonna try to do this in a way that's
Not covering your face.
not covering my face.
Yeah,
we'll talk to you. Look, I'm a podcast host. Look, I'm talking about important things. I've got 1 million subscribers. Look at me
Can't
go.
you see? 1 million.
go.
See, I got to be careful though, because like I'm gonna be looking over at you, so I want to make sure I'm not doing this. You know what I mean?
Let's just put these microphones away. What do you think? Excellent, Mike. I just want to emote. Be able to emote freely.
All right,
you know
we're
what I
back.
mean?
Yeah.
We're back. We're suppressed. All right, we're back. Here's what we know.
Eddie, auto-tune, please.
So we know that we have introduced talents. So here's the scope of things. At the start of the game, we had classes. We had 8 classes plus shapeshifter and some weird ones, merchant, etc.
Mostly 8.
Mostly 8 main classes. And those classes had access to class cards and generic cards.
Yep.
Right?
So like Runeblade is a class.
Mm-hmm.
Runeblade has access to Runeblade cards.
Runeblade cards.
Generic.
Generic cards. Simple system.
Got it. Yeah, I'm with it.
But what we're seeing now is an introduction of what's called talents. And what we know is that these talents are linked to regions. And there are 8 regions in Wraith.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, we presume there are 8 talents.
Should have brought my book.
We have the Demonastery, that sometimes people coming out of the Demonastery are shadow talented. So that this is kind of like, it's like some people have the Force as a Jedi. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're Force sensitive, which is maybe like a talent.
Different levels of it.
Yeah, and sometimes you're a full-on Jedi, which maybe is more representative of the full class talent combination. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, shadow only ever comes from,
as far as we know,
how'd you say the word?
Demonastery. And I don't know if that's right.
The monastery.
But it's kind of like a play on monastery, but for demons.
Demonastery.
Yeah, so demons are in the monastery praying for the well-being of all humans. Just like every monastery.
Are the demons?
I don't know. And then we've got Solana, which is it like the capital? You read the lore book more than I did. It's like the big city area, right?
It is the kind of shining city on the hill in the middle-ish of the continent.
So as you might expect, light is the talent there. And so seemingly we're playing with talents that are going to be contrasted against each other. Like light and dark.
Shadow and light.
Shadow and light are talents that are essentially opposed because they have some cards that specifically attack the other talent's shtick, basically. So we've got all these 8 classes, but now we've also got talent cards, so shadow cards, and those can be used by any shadow hero.
So as an example, you said Sir Bolton.
Yeah.
His little type on the bottom is light warrior hero.
Right.
Now, does that mean we'll ever get villains? I don't know. But light warrior hero, he can play warrior cards, and he can play light cards. But someone like Dorinthia,
and he can play light warrior cards.
Right.
Which is important because we didn't... this is the weirdest part of this.
Yeah.
Having that specialized of a card type is very interesting.
So he can play light warrior cards, he can play warrior cards, he can play light cards, and he can play generics. Dorinthia, though...
And he can play warrior cards.
...can only play, even though she's from the same place, she can only play warrior cards and generic cards.
Yeah.
Because she's a warrior hero.
And what's interesting about that, just lore-wise, it's like Sir Bolton has the magic, but Dorinthia is just great. at swords.
She's just a warrior.
She's just a warrior. She's just incredible at the craft. So my speculation has been that these talentless classes, and I know it sounds wrong, but the untalented of the heroes are just so fundamentally good at what the class is doing that they're going to stay competitive with those that have access to other parts. Because like Dorinthia is just so good at warrior, whereas Bolton is like kind of good at warrior and kind of good at light.
Yeah.
And so the combination of those makes a good sum of its parts, but Dorinthia is like the min-maxed sword.
So the the idea, presumably from just a balance standpoint, would be a hero that has access to less cards should inherently be better as just the hero.
They must be stronger, right?
The light version of the hero, obviously, or that class, would have access to more cards and abilities and more options, and so presumably they can do things that the standard non-talented hero would do or can't do, but maybe at the sacrifice of their inherent goodness being a little bit less.
Here's some more speculation for you. Think about this. So it could well be, take warrior for instance. Warrior class cards have the reprise keyword. Like that's a lot of their attack reactions have reprise. If you defend them with a card, they get better. Now Bolton can play most of those. I think one of them is a specialization for Dorinthia, the Steel Song, whatever.
There's the Steel Blade Supremacy and the...
What is that? Iron Song Determination, whatever the one is where you put it in and then you go get whatever you want.
Yeah, so where she's younger and she's like grabbing Dawn Blade.
So we haven't seen any reprise on light warrior cards or light cards, right?
That's not what they do.
So it could be that while Bolton has some access to reprise because he is a warrior, Dorinthia is going to be min-maxed into reprise warrior. She's specialized in that. Similar to like how maybe Azalea is like the reload master, whereas other rangers will have access to reload, but they'll be more focused on the talent side of what their class is doing.
Yeah.
So it just makes a lot of sense to me to think of it like that. Now, let's look at what Sir Bolton actually does. So Sir Bolton, 440, I'm glad. Keep those stat lines in mind. I think these stat lines are good. It's a good place to start with any character, maybe all characters. Let's not change it. That it all got weird. Wizard maybe at 30. I don't know. Is that the right choice? It says if you've charged this turn, attacks you control have +1 attack while defended by an attack action card. Very similar to what we saw from the Sabers, Centauri Sabers. Is that what you said?
Centauri Saber?
Cassie's swords. So what this introduces to us is the singular light warrior mechanic and potentially the light mechanic. Don't know. Don't know how this is going to work. But charging is putting a card face up from your hand under your hero card.
I think light warrior's mechanic is charging.
You think so?
Yeah.
Is there any? We'll get to it.
We'll get to more cards.
Is there
a
generic light card that charges? I don't know. Probably not, because warriors charge, right?
Well, light is about the soul.
Yeah.
Warrior light is about charging.
So every light class will presumably add cards or interact with your soul in a different way based on the class.
Presumably.
But
we'll see. I haven't really, we'll see. We're going to go through the cards and we'll speculate.
I mean, it makes sense if you look at Runeblade and Brute, which we'll get to. So if you've charged this turn, and so it's similar to Mech, right? Boosting. So if you have put a card face down into your soul, +1 while defended by an attack action card, and then attack reaction, and this is really important. This attack reaction is the juice right here. Now, it doesn't have a once per turn. So just remember that. It says if banish a card from Sir Bolton's soul, target attack with attack greater than its base gains go again. So if you have pumped an attack any amount, you can banish something from the soul, give it go again.
Including his own inherent +1 if they block with an attack action.
Correct.
So he's really penalizing you for blocking with attack actions.
Here's the thing. Colin was talking about this in our Discord last night, or maybe 2 nights ago. It's all a blur now. It's a preview season. It's just a fever dream. So the thing about Warrior that we're finding out, it's not necessarily about reprise. It's not necessarily about charging. The grand concept of this class is essentially my attacks are lower strength, but hard to block. It's like demonstrating the finesse that a warrior has, right? Brute is like 6 to 7 attack. But warrior is like, I'm going to do a very precise strike. And if you try to stop it, I'm going to continue to gain advantage as you do that. And I think that's really fascinating design space.
Yeah, because basically, if you block a warrior,
They're
it can go
the
poorly.
hardest thing to block.
Yeah, because
They're the most skilled.
in Bolton's case, you do not want to block with an attack action.
Right.
Because then you give him an immediate +1. If they want, they can have go again immediately on that thing.
Right.
So you can block. You just want to block with anything that's not an attack action.
You know what's fascinating about that? Nearly all of the attack actions are 3 defense.
Yeah.
Which covers this attack up, but then gets him the +1. However, 2 defense cards now get more interesting.
Yeah.
So do you now start blocking warrior with 2 defense so that they don't gain access to this go again and they don't get the +1?
You probably block a light warrior with 2 defenses.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's like Ranger's weakness is turned into a strength.
In this
I
particular
don't even
matchup.
have 3 defense cards in that game. So this is Sir Bolton. Fantastic character for all the reasons. Wonderful light warrior hero. Very happy to see this. And I think this is going to be very interesting gameplay, particularly for those of us that have played against Dorinthia a bunch and said, we get it, you swing with Dawnblade, you give it go again, then if I block, I lose, and if I don't block, I lose. I've played that game.
Yeah.
Sir Bolton is going to give us a whole new way to hate playing against Warrior, which I think is going to be very fun.
Agreed. We also had Sir Bolton, the young version.
Yeah, that's just Bolton. He's not a Sir yet.
Oh, that's that. Oh my goodness, I love that. And he just has. He doesn't have his title either. Breaker of Dawn.
Yeah, Breaker of
Also,
Dawn.
that's a great name.
Yeah. Yeah, we got Dawnblade and then Breaker of Dawn.
The Breaker of Dawn.
They must be up early in Solana.
Or they at least value being up early.
Yeah, that's right. Don't we all? But it's just so hard sometimes.
All right.
Moving on to Bolting Blade.
I'm with you.
So this is, again, this is the, we're gonna do videos on this. We've got a whole series that's gonna happen, but I want to visually, when we do it on the visuals, it'll be easier to understand, particularly for new players. But if you imagine a specialization pocket, it's like you have your class, and actually it's probably you have all of your talents, and then you have your class, and then you have your class plus talent card pool, and that's the smallest card pool, presumably, in the game. Very tight, very controlled, very important if you're not going to rotate, obviously, because you got to know exactly where your numbers are on these things. So this is a light warrior attack action. Sir Bolton, unlike Dorinthia, playing a ton of attack actions, which I love. I think that's the bread and butter of the game.
That's really cool.
And I think that's what makes Dorinthia different and therefore not needing of a talent. So 4 cost, you'll like that one, Zach. Yellow. So pitches for 2, 3 defense, 7 attack. 7 attack is notable. You look at a card that says 7, you got to pay attention.
Especially at a warrior. That's insane.
2 less for each time you've charged this turn. So let's just assume it's a 2 cost 7 damage attack. That's pretty respectable. Right?
0 for 7 is my kind of math.
0 for 7. I mean, you get Enlightened Strike. You don't have to pitch a card down at all. It's beautiful.
Well,
and you want to charge anyway to get cards in your soul.
And Bolton charging means that he gets go again. So you could imagine this at the end of a chain.
Yep.
Where you're charge, playing this for free. Maybe you attack with something else that has go again, plus then plays for free. It's a great turn.
But the lovely thing to me is that you're going to see the pressure, right? So we see this in Shadow too. The mechanic, you can automatically see the weakness and the strength and the tension that a mechanic is creating, because your hand is going to be very pressured. Yeah. Every time you charge, that's a card from your hand that's leaving. So pitch something, play something, charge. You got 1 card left.
Yeah.
So utilizing the arsenal, not wanting to block as much, because like, oh, I want to go in with a 5-card hand. Like Arsenal plus 4 means I can charge twice and Bolting Blade for 7. But do I take 14 damage in return because I didn't spend any cards, right?
Yeah.
So the tension of, am I going to block or am I going to charge next turn is going to be really important in this class. Really, really important. But yeah, beautiful art. As
I was going to say, that's a great looking card.
It always just hits it. Beacon of Victory, another beautiful piece here. They're doing a great job. Now, we've seen a lot of yellow cards in light. Not only is that awesome because it fits the color theme of light, and I'm sure that's why, but it also is kind of hinting at maybe the cost curve that a Bolton deck might be looking at, right? Like a 2-pitch cost curve could be the thing. I've seen a lot of 0 attacks, and then we just saw an attack that becomes 2 if you've charged once. So it could be like do a 0 cost charge, pitch yellow, 2 cost for 7.
Yeah,
you know, those kinds of things.
It's cool looking for the curve like that.
As an additional cost to play it, you have to banish at least 1 card from your soul.
Okay.
That's the best way to think about that. And then the number of cards that you banish is the plus X value. So you banish 1 card, a target attack gets +1. Banish 2 cards, target attack gets +2.
Interesting.
Now remember, these are cards that you've spent time putting into your soul, so getting a +1 or a +2, not super notable in terms of the math of the game, but it also means that now your attack is greater than your base,
I was gonna say it.
which means that Bolton's attack reaction comes in.
So you can go
Yeah,
again.
go again.
And it's also important to note, I mean, it's a yellow that costs nothing that has a 3 defense.
Yeah.
So 3 defense is the moneymaker here. And this is a majestic. So we might only get this card in yellow.
Yep. The final text, if you've charged this turn, I like that they're doing this. So like there are some cards that charge. There are some cards that want to have been charged in the previous turn. And then there are some cards that do both. They charge themselves and then they reference whether you've charged. So they have a lot of play. If you've charged, search your deck for an action card with X or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So usually I think this Beacon of Victory is probably going to be a 1. It's going to get the target at +1, which means you can give the attack go again, and then go get a 0 cost card because all the light cards that I've seen are 0.
Yeah. Or you could have a ton of soul, and it's like, I'll get rid of 4, get +4 on this attack, give it go again with Bolton, and go get a 4 cost card.
Yeah.
Like the one we saw earlier that's free if you put 2 cards in your soul this turn.
It's just a great way to make sure you can't search that out easily, even though it might cost less than 4.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
super smart. It's the Otis Redding deck. Lots of soul. Just want to get that joke in there.
I need that basketball goal so I can dunk when you make those kind of comments.
The nail in the coffin. He's on fire. Luminous Ascension.
This
Hey,
card
look.
looks phenomenal.
Pitch is yellow.
And it's an M.
What am I saying? 0 cost, yellow, pitch, Luminous Ascension. Now this card is unbelievably good.
It's Bolton specialization, so it
gotta
should
be
be
good.
good.
So you can only run it with Bolton until the end of the turn. Until the end of the turn.
Bolton or Shiana.
Oh,
Oh yeah, her stock right here, going to the moon.
man, that's actually crazy.
Yeah, she's gonna get crazy because she'll just keep getting more cards she can play.
Until the end of the turn, weapons you control again +1. Now that's notable. Bolton's attack reaction does not specify action cards. It says the attack gets go again. So he can use that ability on weapons to give them go again.
Oh wow! And
Keep
if
that
they're
in
all
mind.
+1, then suddenly he can do that.
They're all going again. If this hits, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a light card, put it into your soul and gain a life. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of your deck.
That's
Then,
cool.
if you've charged this turn, attack an additional time with each weapon you control. Yeah. Swing, 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 swing. I mean, it's an All-American
Wow.
Reject song, basically.
So we were saying that he has more attack actions, but like this specialization, and I know I've seen the axes, so
yeah,
we're
it's
gonna
a
talk about the
wild
axes.
axe time. But we also know he's got a giant sword.
It's our 2-handed sword. Oh, in the picture. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're, in the lore, it's called Raiden.
His
It's a
sword.
giant, it's a
Have we
giant
seen
sword.
it yet?
No, we haven't.
Get out of here! Stop it! Give me the cards.
So is this going to be the I'm playing a Bolton Axe deck, I'm playing a Bolton Double Sabers deck, or I'm playing the Bolton Big
Yeah, because
Sword
like
deck?
this card, it's all weapons. So having multiple weapons and all of them being capable of getting go again with his ability seems appealing.
Is Bolton with the Big Sword going to run Twinning Blade because it only works on swords, and then you can attack 3 times in a turn?
Twin Blade only works on swords?
Yeah.
Really?
Can you believe it? They have controlled it so well. Razor Reflex, swords, and what, arrows?
No. Yes.
Isn't it? Because it works on, no, that's the non-attack action. So the weapon side is swords and daggers, and then pummel is clubs and hammers, I think.
Is it daggers?
It's something like that. It's whatever the Kadachi is. Is that not a sword? What is the other one?
I don't know.
Reflex?
Obviously
Wait, pull it
something
up on
we don't do.
Bryce, can you pull it up on
Dagger.
the screen?
Roland says sword and dagger.
Sword and dagger.
The name of our new
I
podcast.
play Flesh and Blood. Who's the sword? Who's the dagger?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sword and Dagger, where we talk about flesh and blood.
Man, I wish you'd have been on the good mic for that. I'd have clipped that out and we'd had that forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so Luminous Ascension is a wonderful card, and you can already see that it works in different builds of Bolton right off the bat based on the weapons. you
Yeah,
play.
and plus every time I play this card, I will definitely be like, "Are you not entertained?" Definitely, which is worth something.
You actually will do that. It will annoy me greatly.
Yeah.
Via the Vanguard, yellow pitch, 1 cost. Yellow again. Watch out.
All
Curve
yellows.
the 2. Bolton Specialization. As an additional cost to play it, charge your hero's soul any number of times. So you pay 1, So let's imagine this. So, you got the tunic and stuff. Pitch a card, charge as many times as you want. Let's say you have 3 cards in hand left. You charge 2 times.
No, hold the phone. I didn't know this was possible. This is a new tech. So all the, like that 4-cost attack, whatever it was called, you could literally play via the Vanguard, charge 2 times.
Yeah.
And now that's a free attack over there.
That's correct.
As long as this thing gets go again somehow.
Yeah.
Which you would have because, keep reading.
Because it says it.
It's printed on it, yeah.
Legitimate. Attacks you control on this combat chain gain +1 for each light card charged this way.
So
Not chain link, combat chain, so the entire chain.
So it's a 1 for 3.
That's right.
Let's say you play this from hand.
Yeah.
Right? And
Good idea.
Let's say it's Bolton Specialization.
That's right. I mean, this is the moment.
And let's say you had a tunic on. So
you notice that sword?
It's his sword.
Yeah, it's not axes.
Raiden. So you play it with a tunic.
Yeah.
Right? You
Okay.
pitch 2 cards.
We're wearing the tunic. We're probably wearing armor, but we're wearing the tunic.
You put 2 cards, or you have a potion or whatever.
Right.
2 cards into your soul.
Right.
So now this is a 5 damage attack.
Right.
Use Bolton's ability to give it go again.
Right.
Then you now have a 7 damage attack for free on top of that.
7 plus 2.
A 9 damage attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
That you can also give go again.
Warrior is starting to play like a class that I'm interested in.
Oh, well, you mean?
The big fat attacks, right? All these little like poke for 2 or 3.
Well, there's plenty of 2 or 3 pokies.
Yeah, I mean, it's the axe and everything. But like the giant sword version is the
Yeah.
kind of deck I would want to play. I
Okay.
think.
You just like the big swings.
I do.
You're the Babe Ruth of Flesh and
Hail
Blood.
Mary, man. It's the greatest play in all of football.
Yeah. All right.
Throw the ball up and we'll see who catches it.
It's the great assessive skill that you
What's
can...
that game? You remember that game? Is there a name for it?
Put his
where
big paw
someone,
up there, whapped it down.
throws the football really high,
Yes.
and then in the air calls a value, -5,000.
Yeah, and then you catch it.
Or
and
like
you...
cherry bomb or something
Yeah.
bad. Isn't there a bad one?
Yeah, there's a bad one.
What's the bad one called?
Um...
Let's see, if you catch that one, you gain 0 points.
Yeah, there's something bad. It like zeroes you out or something. And nobody ever keeps track of the points, of course. Nobody can.
The rules are made up.
Yeah,
the points don't matter.
It's just about catching the football, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
So this is great, as it should be for a specialization card. All the stuff that you control. Now, important to note, we're seeing a lot of cards, and Brute actually had this early when I was looking at the card pool. Most every card up to now that does anything important references attack action cards. All the generics are only attack action cards. There's not a single attack action that is referenced. These are starting to reference attacks, which means they work for weapons, so keep your eyes open for things that work for weapons.
One card I really love for this reason is Oath of the Arknight.
Yeah.
Which is next Runeblade attack. Doesn't have to be attack action card. Yeah. And it's
beautiful.
Defense, so you love it. But that's what we're saying
You
here.
love it. All warrior cards are 3 defense. You know that? I did a search for 2 defense cards trying to figure out class design. Warrior has 0.
Makes sense. They wear armor.
0, Zach.
I
did the search for Ranger, and it broke the computer because there was too much.
Can't
to
filter
search.
all that information. Yeah. The as I've always said, the best defense is a good offense.
That's right, and therefore you also have a great defense value.
Great.
It's
you can
beautiful.
swing and you can block. I mean, and you don't have to decide until after the fact what you're going to do.
Some would say it's pretty good. Apparently, the game's called 500 or Jackpot.
I remember that. Yeah, 500.
Yeah,
Trying to
500.
and I remember people being like, throwing it, and they're waiting until you catch it, and it's like 2.5 points. It's like, I'm not tracking that.
No, nobody's tracking that. We're not here for
What is
calculus.
this, MetaZoo? Got him.
Life value is 25,000. Start tracking. Let's look at Valiant Thrust. A red card, finally. 1 cost. I love this card.
Is that pink hair?
That's a 1 for 4. Pink hair included.
I'm into it.
If you've charged this turn, it gains +3. My gosh. A 1 for 7? Just shut the barn door on that one. That's incredible.
But like, it doesn't charge. So you'd have to have something that charges that also has go again
yeah.
to be able to do this. Even that V of the Vanguard, it costs a resource. You have to charge to do it. And then you also still pay for this. So like, you can only do so many things.
It's true. I mean, that's the hand pressure, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna. But if you get a Valiant Thrust, I mean, it's Valiant. I mean, that's a great card. And I think Bolton's specialization is a lot of times going to search for 1 cost or less. And I think you're going to get cards like Valiant Thrust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, a light warrior attack action.
I'm so excited to finally get these on the table, and like, I feel like my ability to appreciate how this functions is me actually seeing it in action. I get it conceptually.
Yeah.
But like, I want to see how hard it is to actually pay for cards, play it, charge, and then get a go again.
I have some ideas on that. I think the general feel is going to be pitch, attack. Attack has charge on it. It also has go again because a lot of the cards that charge themselves also give themselves bonuses, and then play a third attack with the charge in place. And then you have one floating card, and it's going to be like, I could maybe go again and then do a weapon attack with this pitch,
or block
it's
with
my
it.
block. Yeah, I think that's how it's usually going to look. But then you will also have some Bugatti turns with this warrior.
That's what's so great about even that 7 damage attack. It's like if your opponent doesn't pressure your hand and you have a full hand and you can like swing, and then drop a 7 attack for free, great. If they are pressuring you, you can just block with the card you're obviously not going to get a play, because it's got 3 defense. So.
It's the warrior. It's the warrior math, man. And you know what? What I said might not be true just now. I wonder because I remember seeing a lot of these cards that additional cost to charge don't actually give any kind of bonus to attack. So that might be the central tension also of light. Is like Bolt of Courage, for instance. Red Bolt of Courage, 0 cost for 3. As an additional cost, you can charge. So that's how you get your charges going. Isn't that nice? Like the content creator down there with just like the oh my gosh.
Are we face? Popping? No, we're just doing
no,
a
we're
card.
just popping a card. But the spread has it on there. I don't know who that is, but it's great. Shout out to that person.
I don't know who's in this art, but I want to. That's the light warrior I'm gonna play.
Okay.
I'll be on record.
It kind of looks like a butterfly warrior, but I think it's just cape technology.
Yeah, it's actually not even his cape.
Whoa.
He's in a couple of pieces of art. We'll get to it.
Oh, it's a flag. It's a flag.
Yeah.
He's got a flag and it's flying behind, but it looks very
flag
capey.
Technology.
Yeah.
But look at the sword on that guy.
Yeah, great sword. If you charge this turn, it gains if it hits draw a card. So I love cards like this.
Or there's a cost to play both courage. You can charge your hero soul. So that's good.
This
0 for 3.
This is how you power your soul. The attack itself is not very good. 0 for 3 is fine. But then it has a good hit effect. So then you're like, I can't let a 3 hit. So you block with a 3, and then Bolton wrecks you, and that's how warrior works.
You can't block with a 3 because then Bolton's going to get +1 and be able to give it a go again.
That's right. But if you block with a 2, they get to draw a card.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just getting to it, aren't we? We're realizing how dreadful it's going to be to play against this garbage, which means I'm going to be playing it. I like this a lot. I think this is going to be so fun to play, especially in limited, like sealed and stuff. This is just going to be epic stuff.
Dude, sealed, this is what I've been thinking a lot about, because a lot of the light and dark, generic light and dark, not the class specific, get better or worse against light or dark.
Yeah.
So it makes draft and sealed really fascinating.
Yeah.
Because like when you get paired against the opposite side, you know there's going to be light and dark cards happening because you're playing draft and sealed, so there's only so many heroes.
It's going to be epic.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And they designed it with this in mind. Like, that's so cool to really care about limited enough. And you know why? Because everybody can play limited. And it's the most accessible game format of all collectible games. Yeah. Limited, sealed, and draft. Yeah. So if you make that experience amazing, honestly, your constructing can be garbage. It won't be. It's going to be wonderful like it always is. But that could be the game. Open these packs, put them together, play them.
Yep, agreed.
Engulfing Light. Red. Fitting the template, 0 cost, 3 attack, 3 defense. And additional cost you can charge. If you've charged, if it hits, put it into the soul. So it charges itself.
If you put it into the soul, is that considered charging?
Great question. That's a great question.
Because, like that card, I
don't think it is.
Anytime.
It would say you may charge it or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Like, you know what I mean?
I don't think so, because charge is very much a key word. Put a card from your hand face up under your hero card. If this hits, put it into your hero's soul. I don't think that's considered charging. Great question, Zach.
That's what I'm here for.
Bring in the heat. We'll probably get an FAQ.
Ritter's saying not the same, but
Yeah, it's not. It just feels like it's not.
Yeah, but I've been wrong before.
Really?
There was twice.
Yeah, I still remember. 0 cost, red, express lightning, another light warrior attack. Now, hold the phone here because we're seeing the template express itself.
Cool art. Is that Dorinthia?
Charged specifically from hand, apparently. It's pretty Dorinthia, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe not.
Play express lightning, you may charge your hero soul. 0 for 4.
So what we're seeing is the template here, and this is why Flesh and Blood is a game that is smart. Is you have 0 for 3s with a hit effect that charge your soul, and then 0 for 4s that charge your soul with no hit effect. It's the math. They just do the math. It's not terribly difficult.
Yeah.
Just do the math.
It's the fundamentals of that. We were talking about this earlier, which is like, if you clearly define what Guardian's thing is, and then you clearly define what light is, it doesn't write itself, but it almost does, where it's like, okay, well, what does a light Guardian do?
Right.
And like you have all these pairings just smashed together, but that makes everything feel unique and have its own identity without having to like, like I think about Destiny a lot, and it's like, all right, make a new character that fights with a lightsaber. It's like, and has the Force.
Yeah, here we go again.
Okay, all right.
Okay, and then we also got, let's just show it. Yellow Express Lightning is exactly what you would expect.
Just slightly worse.
Yeah, the attack value goes down if you haven't gathered
and
that
there's
yet.
Blue Express Lightning.
So the thing about Yellow Express Lightning is that we will later see some cards that reference 3 attack or less on cards.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
So we might be playing the Yellow Express Lightning in a Bolton deck because, again, if you block it, it's great. If you don't block it, it's great, and if you have that Dwarf Minnowism card, it gets really good.
All right, I like it.
All right, then we go to a attack reaction 0 cost red. 2 defense, hold the phone. 2
Light
defense.
Warrior has 2 defense cards.
2
Sound
defense.
the alarms.
Yeah. Where's the boo boo? If you've charged this turn, target attack gains +3. So it's a 0 for 3, 2 defense. If you've charged, it makes sense.
And
Like Steelblade, what have yous.
But
Dorinthia's was if you blocked with a card, you get a 0 for 3. This is if you charge, you get 0 for 3.
yeah, but that is actually, in my opinion, even better because you control when you charge.
That's
you
right.
don't control when your opponent blocks.
Or keep in mind, you could run them both.
So the reason,
Can you? Yeah, it's not Dorinthia only.
the reason that you can get away with this though is that you have a slightly less dependent on your opponent condition. So you can play it more often on offense, but it's also only a 2 defense.
Yeah.
So it's a little worse on that side of the fence, which is good. That's just, again,
Math.
once you have math and principles in play, really the cards design themselves.
That's right.
Just boom.
That's
there
why
they
I'm
are.
sure they've got the 5 years. Now, so everybody was talking about, we talked about this the other day. Legend Story apparently had like 5 years of the game design. That's what everybody
We
kept
kind of
saying.
put these dots together the other night.
People were talking about that. Oh, they got 5 years together. Well, let's think about that. So if there's 8 talents and there's 8 classes, let's just assume that. And we get what? 4 pairs every set. Is that right?
No. So
And there's 64 pairs? How many pairs are there?
82. I'm just kidding. The basics are if there's 8 talents, like, and we get light and dark together,
Right.
and there's 8 classes.
Right.
My assumption is that we're going to get 4 in this set, Monarch, and that the other 4 would come in Kingdoms.
4 light dark would come in Kingdoms.
So the other 4 of the 8 classes. So there's 8 classes, right?
So only light and dark in this block.
So like
basically.
in Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising, right? We had 8 classes.
Yeah.
4 in the first set, 4 in the second set. So let's say Monarch and Kingdoms is the same way, 4 and 4. And let's say we stick on the light and dark theme.
Let's just say.
So then after Kingdoms, we would have 4 dark classes, or 4 shadow classes, and 4 light classes. Then presumably, let's say we get a 3rd set this year, or in this
Like
12-month period.
supplement, yeah,
like Crucible, that has cards for all 8 of these classes here. So in my mind, it naturally was like, okay, well, if they introduce 2 talents a year, then you basically get
It's 4 years.
first set, second set, 4 classes, you get all 8. And then it would take you 4 more years to roll out all 8 talents. And they were always kept talking about having 5 years of content design. It would make a lot of sense to me if you had your first year, which is, talentless. Then you had 4 years to roll out all 8 talents,
All 8 talents, yeah.
across 8 classes. And what's crazy about that is like after even at that rate, you would still have only 4 of the classes have shadow.
Yeah. You'd literally be able to double the next 4 years just exploring the other pairs.
It would take you at that rate, again, they could do something totally different, but at that rate, it would take you 9 years before you had 1 hero from every class plus talent pairing.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
It's amazing. Yeah. It gets me jacked. But anyway, if you literally think about, we've been playtesting these 5 years worth of talent class cards since for many years. It's like, oh, well,
And I think that's where
maybe that's why they're so well balanced.
if you actually understand, here's what light does, here's what shadow does, and here's what these 8 classes do. And you do that for all 8 classes, right? All 8 talents and all 8 classes. You know what each of them does, and you know what each unique pairing does. And you understand the basic math of a card and the effects that happen. It doesn't write itself, but it almost does. Where it's like, oh, this is how this class interacts, and this is what they can do to, and like, boom, those cards would just come flying out of the design brain.
If you have this is what warrior is supposed to represent, and this is what light's supposed to represent, you smash those two together, and it's like, okay, how does light warrior punish your opponent for blocking and demonstrate greater finesse with attack actions? It's like, well, one way is attack reactions. One way is if they block, then you give them pluses. One way is they use their soul as an additional resource to then play bigger attack. It's like, it's a million ways. It's like, it's so good.
Yeah, and it's cool because it's top down. So once you start figuring out, here's what the 8 classes do, here's what the 8 talents do, here's what it means when they meet in the middle on each of those. And you see, really, if you map all that out, that's just such a good guide map for how to design the game for so long.
Yep, it's just awesome. It looks like there's an actual, plan in place. They're not flying by the seat of their pants here. We're talking about Hail of Illumination. This is a new one.
Love this art.
Light equipment for the head. 0 defense. Instant. Pay a money. Destroy it. Put a card from your hand into your hero's soul. If it's a light card, draw a card. So it's a surprise soul.
So 1 resource.
Yeah.
Which would probably be a card that you have to pitch,
right,
with a resource floating. As an instant, charge your soul and draw a card.
Except you're not actually charging the soul, I don't think. Except it says from your hand, so maybe that is charging. Wouldn't it say, destroy Hail of Illumination, charge?
I would assume.
Wouldn't it say? Because they do this on purpose. Like, I have to deal with this in Azalea a lot, where it's like, it goes face up, or it goes face down, or it goes over here, or it's different. It's actually going here, and so it's not considered a reload, like those kinds of weird things. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's charging. I don't think it's charging.
Yeah, I don't think it's charging.
But it's a surprise something is in the soul.
Yeah.
So then things that need to banish things out of your soul can now become online at instant speed.
Yeah.
Which is it's going to be very important, I assume, in the card pool.
Let's say you pitch a blue, 2 resources floating, and you get a card back. So you're netting a card in your soul, but also that's a hand.
Yeah.
That's a potentially good turn. Like Doranthi always pitches a blue first, right?
Right.
So like being able to pitch a blue to replace a card and have a card in your soul could be really useful.
I agree with that.
Also, this is a good point. Roland, charging is unique to Light Warrior, and this is generic.
Oh, right on.
So of course it's not charging because Light Warrior is the
yeah, you got to find a way to put things in your soul, no matter what light class you are. But charging is warrior.
Again, it makes sense, right? Like light is defined by you have a soul.
Yeah.
You're putting cards into your soul.
Put cards in your soul.
Right? Light Warrior does that by charging them into their soul.
Yeah.
But Light Guardian or
might
Light
be by
whatever,
defending them into your soul.
Who knows how they get there.
Auraing them into your soul.
Yeah.
Azalea or a Ranger might shoot them into your soul, or dodge them into your soul. A lot of ways to get things into your soul. As you guys know, if you've read the Divine Romance. Divine Comedy. Divine Romance is Yogananda. Totally different book, by the way. Don't get them confused.
Unfamiliar with both.
Celestial Cataclysm. We've seen this.
Hey, that's right here.
Yellow. Again, yellow. Because it's light. It's just like, are they all going to be on a 2 curve because it looks so good?
Look at the templating on this thing.
I mean, how can you possibly compete with this? I mean, this is Zeus level Cataclysm. 0 cost. Banish 3 cards from your soul, so that's a way that the Halo can come into play there. Go again, 7 attack.
3 defense.
It's basically, it's the Enlightened Strike, but rather than discarding a card or putting a card under your deck, you banish from the soul, and it automatically has Go again.
That's an insane card. I mean, obviously you can't play it unless you've charged 3 times. You only have roughly 60 cards in your deck.
Or other ways to get things in your soul. Like that card that goes in your soul when it hits? You just got to land 3 of those, and then boom.
Yeah.
Cataclysm.
But the fact that this is the yellow with 3 defense, that once you have 3 in, is a 0 cost Go again, 7 damage attack.
Yeah.
That is the heat.
That's the heat.
That's
the heat.
And it's majestic. So we're going to need a million copies of that.
And notable, it's a light action. So all light characters are going to have access to
forever.
This. Forever.
Yeah.
It's the way of the light.
Well, I guess until they rotate.
Just funny. Funny. Apparently not happening. Of course, everybody says that, but
I think they're gonna pull it off. Look,
they pulled off everything I didn't think they'd pull off.
mark my words,
Starting now.
they're gonna pull it off.
Okay. Marked. I will clip the segment of the video.
I wish I didn't like the way these light cards looked as much as I do.
Well,
We're gonna eventually have a problem.
maybe you're ultimately a good guy.
Just misunderstood.
Just misunderstood you. We need a moody light character, and you'll be all over it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm light.
maybe Visceray will go to the
I
light side.
feel.
He'll become the light rune blade when he becomes a legendary. He'll make a choice.
Maybe that would be that would actually be phenomenal.
From what I can tell from the art,
And Dorinthia will go shadow. Swap.
from what I can tell from the art, no one's happy about the rune blade choice. It's like,
Like a classic Anakin Vader situation.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like it wasn't like this is what you dreamed for yourself as much as it was like you were kind of forced into this
Yeah.
because of circumstance.
Yeah.
But
More
hopefully
of
a better told than
commentary
the
on-
prequels.
Well, yeah. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Tome of Divinity. Yellow card here. It's a light instant, so this is going to be around for all of our light characters. It costs you 4 to draw 2 cards, and if a card has been put into your soul through any mechanic, draw 3, which is the only time you're going to play this.
We were talking about this the other day, which is, okay, so it's 4.
They do so well with card draw in this game.
Yeah, it's the
Keep it from
best.
getting degenerate
It's the
like,
best.
so quickly.
Cost 4 means you have to spend two cards, presumably, to play this, or you spend a tunic plus a blue. But typically, you're going to spend 2 cards on this. And if you spend 2 cards to draw 2 cards,
Let's say it's 2 blues.
well, and let's say it's, okay, 2 blues.
Yeah,
So you spend 2 cards plus this card.
right.
So you now spent 3 cards.
Yeah,
You have 2 floating resources
yeah.
to draw 2.
No, 3.
Well, yeah, if you charge.
You're only going to draw. You're only ever going to draw 3.
But
with
if you're
this.
pitching 2 blues and this,
You basically get a fresh hand with starting 2 resources. It's just the Death Dealer math. So it's the same amount of cards that you started with, but 2 money.
but to do this, you have to have a 4-card hand.
Well, yeah. Well, you just have it, right?
Because you're going to have 2 blues
Mhm.
and a way to charge your soul.
No. You can halo it. That's an instant.
That's a good point.
Then you start with 1 money instead.
Yeah.
Which is, not exactly ideal. But for cycling cards, I mean, there's going to be all sorts of ways to make this work.
Agreed.
We
but
all know it. We're going to get your energy potion. Oh, I got 2 energy potions all of a sudden.
Agreed. I'm very happy that they treat card draw like they do,
Yeah.
which is that the math, even on like Tome of Faendal, which if you can give it go again, can lead to a pretty crazy turn. Or if you're playing currently Wizard, then it could be a crazy turn. But like drawing cards comes at the appropriate cost,
That's right.
which I like.
Yeah, 100%. And notably, this being instant puts it in a different category than Tome of Faendal, because if you find a way to energy potion, instant draw 3, and now I have a 7-card hand plus arsenal, that's incredible.
That's where the magic happens.
Incredible.
And of course, it has the classic instant problem,
Or
which is
6-card hand.
0 defense. Which
Yeah.
I'm happy to see.
Yeah, you can't defend
Again,
with a book. I mean, this is Tales old.
I think literally, I would bet there's a whiteboard moment in design that says if a card is drawing cards, here's the equation, and also it has to be this. It has to be these problems with it, right? You can't block with it. You can't. It's like we just have to make sure anytime we're allowing card draw, because eventually, if you release enough card draw cards, it could weirdly
you
be
don't
a
want
problem.
that game. You don't want that
Yeah,
game.
you do not want a 15-card hand.
Now, here's some other use cases. I'm going to throw these at you. So let's say you have a 4-card hand and you're blocking. And the only way that you can block this is to draw that defense reaction, or to draw that bonehead barrier.
Tell
or
me more about that value.
et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, okay, he's dominating me right now, and what I need is my unmovable or my staunch response or something. I'm going to cycle my entire hand to try to find it.
When you gotta dig, you gotta dig.
When you gotta dig, you gotta dig. Let's look at another light instant. It's a red 2-cost called Glsen.
Is that a sword?
This card is unbelievably cool. I love this card so much. It also introduces a new mechanic. Distribute up to 4 +1 attack counters among any number of weapons you control. So 4 +1s on a single weapon would be a +4. You guys know the math on that. You could split it 2 and 2 on like swords or axes, one-handers.
3 and 1.
3 and 1. Light Ninja could do a Kodachi. I mean, it could get nuts.
Well, because like perhaps you need 3 to make this attack hit, and then you just throw the 1 on the other weapon, right?
Right.
That could be really good.
Now, keep in mind, any weapon with these +1 counters on it can get go again from Bolton.
Yeah, this is a super good card. And it's instant speed.
Yeah.
They don't have to block. It's not a reaction, et cetera, et cetera.
That becomes just phenomenal.
Yeah,
So like they don't block, you instant, give that thing a +1, the next thing a +3, give it go again with an attack reaction from Bolton, and all of a sudden you're in the money.
And you can immediately see why Dorinthia can't play this card.
True.
Thankfully.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I'm gonna give Dawnblade +4,
Yeah.
and let's go again.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Let's go.
Let's party.
Ugh, gross. Yeah, don't even talk about that. But it costs 2, so like that's a good cost there.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's also talk about Illuminate here.
This card threw people for a loop. This is the art that people thought meant we were getting Light Wizard this set. Which we
fair
still
enough.
might. This is a light card. A Light Wizard could play it.
This really has a War Machine vibe to it, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
Whatever that mostly like white colored faction was.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Protectorate?
Yeah, Protectorate of Minoth. Yeah, that's right. Or the Defenders of Minoth or something.
In there
Minoth was
somewhere.
involved somewhere somehow. 0 cost red. Now again, we've seen the basic equation, right? So 0 cost attack. It's doing 4. It doesn't have a hit effect, except it puts it into the owner's soul. So we saw the 0 for 4 that allowed you to charge, and this is the 0 for 4 that allows you to put it in if it hits. So it's combining. I don't get charge, but I get a hit effect that is kind of like charging. So it gets the 4 attack.
Yeah.
And of course 3 defense because warrior. That's why.
Yeah.
Because warrior.
I mean, a 0 for 4 that has 3 defense. Okay.
Yeah. Bring it on. And you got to keep
I
in
block
mind,
the 3 and I can still swing with 4.
all these 0 for 4s at yellow are 3 damage attacks, and that's going to be important later for the small synergy stuff.
Oh yeah, there's a yellow and a blue.
Yep. They're all there. Impenetrable Belief. Another light attack. 2 cost red.
We're gonna get priest at some point, right?
Oh yeah.
Or like whatever this character is.
Yeah. I just hope it's not a class that is just there to not die. You know, you ever seen those classes?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
well, I just gain life forever. It's like,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yoda Leia Mill, the worst.
Interesting last text of Glsen. What do we miss? What did
You
Sam say?
just discard all +1 counters. So if you were putting +1 counters like with Dawnblade, you would
very
remove
nice.
all of them at the
Yeah.
end. Yeah.
Not that she can play it, but it is important.
Can't play it yet.
5 attack, 2 defense. So I haven't even read the card, but here's what I'm going to wager. For 2, 5, 2, this ability has got to be very good.
Also, note it's a light attack action, not light warrior.
Yeah.
So now we're into the kind of like generics of light.
We're in the generic light pocket is where
Yeah.
we've been the past few cards. If 3 or more cards have been put into an opposing hero's banished zone, now remember, that's the shadow mechanic. Putting things into your banished zone is the shadow mechanic.
This turn.
This turn, it gains +2 while defending.
I was like, if I'm attacking, why are they going to be putting stuff in their banners?
So it becomes 4 defense if the shadow player is taking a big turn, basically, is what it looks like to me. Now remember, there are cards from Shadow that say banish 3 cards randomly from your graveyard into your banish zone. So that is banishing 3 cards.
Absolutely.
Which means the Impenetrable Belief is now 4.
Yeah, and any card that can maybe be a 4 defense and also have any other utility for me is a card I like.
That's a great card. Now a lot
Like-
of times you're defending with 2, but then sometimes 5. It's just like good design.
If anything that defends for maybe 4 and does anything else is on my short list of things to maybe put in my deck.
I mean, compare this to Springboard Somersault, right?
Yeah.
That's a 0 for 2 that becomes a 0 for 4. And it's like, well, it's I mean, this is more conditional.
But this
depending
is
on the
a
meta.
2 for 5 attack that could be a 4 defense as well.
Yeah.
So
And I
like
think
that.
this is going to be a great card in Limited. Keep your eyes on this one in Limited, where the banishing is going to be.
And the
very
yellow is even
important.
better. 2 for 4, but it's a yellow now and still like the same effect. Could be a 4 defense.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Yeah.
I like that card.
Even
4
the
is
blue.
the magic number. The 2 for 3 again. Keep your eyes on those 3s.
Yeah. Got my eyes
I'll
open.
never stop saying it. Another light attack coming in, a 1 cost red Rising Solar
This is
Tide.
that guy I was telling you about.
Oh yeah, got the wing armor
Well,
there.
I mean, he's just he's epic.
yeah,
Epic character. Anyways, go. Sorry.
that white hair. Maybe this is a reformed Rune Blade or something, you know? Because it kind of has that evilly
Maybe Isvis Ray.
decayed look.
Yeah, he's got the dark armor.
Yeah.
I thought this was the art from this. I did not think would be a light card.
Now here's the crazy thing, man. If you look in the background, there are some like big beasts back there. I wonder if those are the same monsters that Azalea is smoking in the traps.
It does look like that. People speculating this could be the Light Guardian character this set. Ooh, it would be so...
Oh man, you would lose your mind. If Rising Solar Tide hits, put it into your hero's soul. So we get a similar kind of effect, but we're adding 1 to the cost to get 1 extra attack.
I love it. And like all the light cards, essentially, the thing they're doing is just adding themselves to the soul to be resources for the specific light application of your talent, right?
Yeah.
I think that's such good design.
It's just good, man. It's just good.
It all adds up.
It's the kind of thing you love to see it.
It's like in algebra when you're doing the equation and the answer evens out at the end, and you're like,
yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Now, obviously, Zach and I love the game, and we're selling it to you. So, like, you might
sold out. We have nothing to sell.
Yeah. The more cynical among you might say, oh, they're just pumping up this game because they're making the cash.
I guess technically we have unlimited subscriptions.
Yeah.
But right now, barely. Yeah.
Just
so
a few.
I'm not. Not really selling anymore.
All that I'm saying is like,
sold.
This is a genuine appreciation of designers sticking to the most fundamental of fundamentals, understanding where they're going, how they're defining their different pies, and then doing it effectively.
Yeah, as strictly as a player, it is amazing to see how consistently they are. The equation makes sense to me.
Yeah, it really does. It's logical, right?
Crazy.
You look at it and you're like, oh, these are all effective.
Unreal.
What are we supposed to do? Go back and talk about the rest of Glsen? All right, I'll go back.
I got you.
We'll listen to chat.
All right. Glsen, I'm just going to read it top to bottom.
Read the parentheses. That's the most important thing.
Distribute up to 4+1 counters among any number of your weapons you control. At the beginning of your end phase, remove all +1 counters from weapons you control. If a permanent is no longer a weapon during your end phase, +1 counters on it are not removed.
So that tells you that summon stuff can become weapons?
Or a weapon that can be a not weapon by the end of the phase somehow?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you've got something that's turning into a weapon, and then during the end phase, it turns back in to something else. That's fascinating. Yeah. Wait a minute. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. That's amazing. Okay. Moving on.
Derek asking, did you guys ever decide a Crucible will be part of your unlimited subscription or not? We have not officially said yet, but stay tuned for that. But we'll be announcing that very soon.
Is it safe to say the odds meter is it will not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how we're going to do it. But we have updates coming related to that.
You just said it's not how we're going to do it.
A lot of people wanted it to happen, but a lot of people didn't. What are you saying?
You said we haven't decided, then you said we're not going to do it.
No, I said we haven't announced it.
Oh, right.
We have decided.
The likelihood of it running through the unlimited sub is extremely low. But the likelihood of it being available at the same price is very high. Just putting that out there.
Adam says, unsub.
Seek enlightenment.
Derek, we will. Yeah, that would be the plan. Asking if we would do pre-orders for it instead if we're not going to do it in the sub. Yeah.
The reality there is like people that don't need or want Crucible, particularly if Unlimited is sold out, which we are thinking it probably will be by that time. We don't want to have to force people to unsubscribe, lose their spot in the subscription, and then never be able to get back in just because they didn't want something they already had.
Yeah. And then we also don't want to send boxes to people that don't actually want them, because the assumption, like even the unlimited first two sets that recently, the second or third wave of unlimited, we can't get more distribution. So we don't want to be sending boxes to people that don't want them. Yes. But it's because we don't want to charge people for stuff they don't want. And then also, there's only so much of this stuff. So we want to make sure people that want it get it.
That's correct. I agree with Zach.
Well, that's good.
We've had a conversation about this for a time. Let's talk about Seek Enlightenment. 1 cost, light action.
Wait, what are we doing?
Okay, Seek Enlightenment.
This art is great.
Yeah. Boom. The next attack action card you play this turn gains +3, and if it hits, put it into the soul.
Okay. A 1 for +3 with 2 defense, light generic action that loads the soul. So we've seen this card out of Warrior, out of everywhere. The Come to Fight, the
1 for +3.
Yeah, it's 1 for 3.
So Come to Fight is 1 +3, 3 defense.
No real effect.
No real effect. Then the Azalea version, Increase the Tension, 1 for +3, no defense reactions, 2 defense.
Yeah.
So if you get any kind of special sauce on a 1 for +3, it's going to probably be a 2 defense card.
Which we've seen over and over again. It's great. Like I said, the algebra checks out.
It's there. So this is a game about hit effects. We've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game about compounding hit effects.
Yeah.
And so anything that you can give where it's +3 and something bonus is where my mind's at.
Yeah.
That's where I'm looking.
And if it's important for you to have cards in your soul,
Presumably.
this is a solid card.
That's right.
Yeah, because it's +3, so it's even more likely to hit now. But it's not the kind of hit effect that your opponent is unwilling to ever let you have. Like that's what whether it's Dominate or even Plunder Run. Like Plunder Run kind of becomes a hit effect that your opponent almost can't allow.
You can't. You can't. It's like the crush effect from that crippling. It's like, well, I can't. This cannot happen.
Yeah, like if you have the option to block with enough cards, that's why Dominate on Crippling Crush is kind of interesting to me. You only want Dominate if you actually want the damage. If you are just trying to get the discard effect, you may as well let them block.
Yeah.
Block with a bunch of cards.
Yeah. It's so true. Mr. B. Fugro saying, my Dream Eaters Mythos board is shipped. You guys are so fast. Thank you so much for that order. We did launch the Dream board for Arkham today, if anybody happens to be an Arkham player watching this, which there probably are a lot. We get a lot of feedback of like, I started playing XYZ because of watching your videos. So
it's cool.
all more the merrier. I mean, we're playing all of
I think
it.
a lot of people assume those boxes are very different.
They're not different at all.
They're really not that much
Not
different.
that different. You like playing games.
It's almost kind of like I watch TV shows and I watch movies. Like,
yeah.
I'm not just after one kind of experience.
And then sometimes you say, I don't want to watch a movie because I don't want to commit as much time.
Thomas says he ordered it.
Exactly. It's like, I don't want to spend all that time on a 2-hour movie and then you watch 6 hours of television instead.
Well, and like, depends on the television show, but like
sense.
television, it can be more character development, right? You get closer to the characters because you just have way more time with those characters.
More situations.
Yeah, but versus like movies typically can be more epic because they can spend more money on this little bitty, time.
And it's easier to not pay attention to television, even if it's compelling. Like, I just don't feel the guilty
lower stakes,
about it,
man. Yeah.
Ray of Hope. We saw this. I think it was the first thing that was spoiled. Ray of Hope. That art on the TCG preview or the TCG player preview, whatever it was. The kits,
it's the release kit promo thing.
One cost. Let's see what it looks like
from the
now
box art,
that we know what is going on with light. One cost yellow, light instant. Attacks have +1 while attacking a shadow hero. So good for Bolton. Gives him go again on all of his attacks.
But only if you're playing against a shadow hero.
Right. Keep that in mind. If you have less life than an opposing shadow hero, put Ray of Hope into your hero's soul. Now, against shadow, this card is bananas-ly good. Obviously, right?
Yeah.
You probably have to sideboard 2 of these.
If you're playing a light hero, but it makes sense, right?
Meta.
This is your talent, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like having 3 to 6 cards in your sideboard that when you have that matchup, but I assume the shadow player will probably do the same thing.
And it depends on the meta, right? If shadow is just not in the meta much, you don't run Ray of Hope.
Yeah.
But the moment that there's that good shadow hero dominating the meta, it's like, oh, time for Ray of Hope. Let's go.
How cool is this whole? I like the idea of tournaments that require you to play shadow or light, like thematically. Same with any 2 pairings of talents that go together like this, because then you're in for. Even imagine a tournament where there's half the spots you can sign up for is light and half are dark.
Yeah.
And it's like a fight to the end.
Yeah. I mean, they could go, dude. We talk. They could like go crazy with this stuff. It could be L5R all over again. Yeah. I could be scared of everyone playing this game at Gen Con.
Get your popcorn ready.
I'm getting a.
It's gonna be good, especially if that long hyped, quietly talked about PvE experience happens.
Oh man.
Like we both get to play light heroes against a big shadow awful thing.
Bring it on. Scott asking, can we show the new Mythos board on camera? Yes, you can.
Give that top down. There's a way to show it on the top down. You can't see the blue until there it is, purplish blue.
Yeah, it rolls. This thing is awesome. I'm so happy with how this turned out.
It
glimmers and glistens like you wouldn't believe.
It's hard to even show accurately.
You can see how that sweeps across, that color sweeps across.
Yeah, I'm so excited for people to get these in
so
there.
amped for that.
I walked by and saw a bunch of them sitting there, and it was just like, whoa.
Yeah, these are good.
These are cool.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. From Ray of Hope to a warrior weapon. So now we're just talking about the warrior cards that we've seen. We're in the warrior pocket now. Hatchet of Body.
Chris wants to know if that's a cold foil board.
Yeah, right? Could be. We'll probably do some fab stuff with some of these techniques, so keep your ears open. Like this
would be cooler if it had
probably
design
is
and
gonna
colors
look more
on it.
like, something you actually want to buy. We're in the business of that, I assure you. Hatchet of Body. I love axes. Just generally, they're an underrated weapon for a lot of good reasons.
You can throw them.
But you can't throw them. And that axe is absolutely beautiful. It looks well balanced. It looks graceful.
It does.
Well adorned.
It definitely looks like the kind of axe you could throw at something.
Well, that settles it.
Don't you agree?
Well, yeah, maybe that's why it's the Hatchet of Body, because you're supposed to lodge it in the body. Once per turn, costs 1. So it's a 1 for 2. This is a similar template we've seen on other weapons. Of course, Kodachi is 1 for 1, but it usually has go again. And then the Centauri Sabers, whatever, 1 for 2, I believe. And then they get better if they block.
Don't they have built-in go again?
No. The Sabers?
Yeah.
Look up the Sabers. I don't think so, because I had to struggle so hard to get extra attacks in that Dorinthia double Sabers deck.
Once per turn, action, attack. If it's defended by an attack action card, it gets +1 till the end of the turn.
Yeah. No, go again. You got to work hard for it. Hit and run and all that stuff. Whenever you attack with Hatchet of Body, if Hatchet of Mind was the last attack this turn, it gains +1 until end of turn.
So if you attack with the other one first, this is a little better.
Yeah.
It goes up to a 3.
But
what's the other one do?
Look at this. Same thing. Hatchet of Mind, also absolutely gorgeous. Just beautiful. If
that art
used
is
axes,
killer.
oh my gosh, this is incredible.
The 2 art pieces is amazing.
Just want, cold foil this. Slap anyone.
I'll
slap anybody for this.
I did not order enough boxes. It's going to cost me dearly. I've made this mistake too many times with Fab.
Oh man, whenever you attack with this, then the thing is +1 if you did the other one.
So you basically get to choose, right? Either one, doesn't matter which one you attack with first. The second one's going to be better.
Yeah, but think about this. Bolton has a card that gives all your weapons the ability to attack additional time. So if you have enough go again, which he could.
Well, he gives it go again,
once
right?
you get the +1, then it has go again, right?
And he just gets to give it go again?
Yeah, the attack reaction, forever. If it's greater than his base attack, go again.
So he plays the card.
Or does he have to banish or something?
I'm going to go all the way back.
All right, go to Bolton. Does he have to banish to do that? I think he's got to banish things. But you're going to have things in you're going to have a 60-card soul. You're going to play the game so well, it won't even matter.
Banish a card from your soul.
Yeah.
And then it gets it. So you load 10 of them up and you're ready to party.
In your soul, and then let's go. But, so you swing for 2, then you swing for 3 with a forever counter. Then you swing for 3 because the thing was the last one. Then you swing for 4 because the thing was the last one.
But these can only
persistent counters.
These can only swing once.
But the card, Bolton Specialization, says both of them can attack an additional time this turn. So you get 4 swings.
Well, what happens if you play that one card that gives you 4+1 counters?
Well, that seems reasonable.
Get out of town.
So you have +1, a +2, a +1. I mean, it's an unmistakably good time.
You're just axing them down.
Yeah. Chop, 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 chop.
Yeah, cutting that tree right down. No, it's great. These weapons are great.
It's wonderful. This is my favorite part of the game, weapons and armor.
I also love how just uncomplicated these weapons are.
Yeah.
It's
math.
It's just very simple.
Yeah. 1 for 2 is like their equation, and then they tweak it based on effects.
Yeah, it's great.
Let's talk about Gallantry Gold, the card that I will kill for in cold foil.
Z-Master says we're actually in the right questions.
That's pretty funny.
This Gallantry Gold in cold foil is going to murder.
Yeah. Disclaimer, murder and killing are actually not things that I would do. Except in very specific instances that I will get into if anybody asks me personally later. Gallantry Gold, 1 cost, destroy it, weapon attacks gain +1 this turn. I mean, yeah. And
for the arms.
1 armor with Battle Worn.
So this replaces Bracers of Belief.
Yeah.
Right?
Braveforge Bracers as well for Warrior.
What's Bracers of Belief?
Bracer Belief is reveal the top card, you get +X.
That's your thing. Braveforge Bracers.
Braveforge Bracers, if you already attack with a weapon this turn, spend 1, get +1 to your next weapon attack.
Yeah, but this is all of your weapons get +1.
Yeah. But Braveforge also has 2 armor. Yeah. So you got to make decisions. This is the whole point of playing a game.
But this is also common.
Yeah, it's so good.
So that's good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Imagine this with a 4 swing turn. Crack it for +4.
It's insane.
4 and that 1/1/1/1.
Yeah.
And it's Battle Worn. I hate it. I love it. I think it's very good. Okay, we've done it. That's all the light stuff. Light, warrior,
All right,
warrior.
You ready to get out of here?
we did light warrior, end.
All right. Seems logical.
Now, knowing what we know, we're going back in
The shadow.
to shadow. So we're going to start with Shadow Brute, and we're obviously going to start with Levia. So I feel like going through these again is going to give us a greater idea of how
Every
things
time
are
you have a
working.
little more context.
So the mechanic here is if a card with 6 or more attack has been put into your banish zone, cards you own lose blood debt during the end phase. So we saw the critical tension of light is going to be hand management. You want things in your soul, but you also want to play things that power the fact that things are in your soul through charging. But then you also got to pay for things. So there's a lot of tension in your hand. Now, Levia's tension is going to be, and I think this is the shadow tension, and I absolutely love it from a concept perspective. Shadow has access to cards in their banish zone, so it's like they have extra hand over there.
They avoid the cost of having to play that card from hand.
So they reach into the shadows as all shadow magic is wont to do. But it punishes them physically over time for accessing such powerful and destructive energies. So every time you're loading your banish zone up, it's going to sit there, and then over time, it's going to do damage to you.
Yeah.
It's classic dark magic
That's right.
conundrum, right?
You do something powerful, but comes with a cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Levia is that push your luck mechanic, right? Where it's like, if you keep the juice flowing, if you keep the train going, you're not going to suffer any downside because it's going to cancel all your blood debt.
But Lord Almighty.
Lord Almighty, the moment you miss and you take 17 from blood debt,
Or your
different
opponent
game.
forces you to miss.
That's right.
Somehow.
Like a sleep dart. Can you imagine? Sleep dart just look.
The meme that has Godzilla and King Kong on it with them running from sleep dart. Have you seen that? So it's like
I
they're
can
fighting,
imagine it.
and then there's a sleep dart shows up and they're running. It's very funny.
Adam says we're supposed to talk about spill blood. Is that generic?
There was a card that was apparently previewed while we were live.
No way. A light card?
Warrior card.
Okay, hold on.
All right.
Let me find it.
All right. I'll let you do
Are you on the Discord? Can you find it on the Discord?
That's where I'm going.
He said please, so I feel like we should honor that. Polite people get everything.
Not true.
No, but for me,
It's helpful.
yeah. Just don't be a, well. Card reveals. Wow, you've got all your stuff expanded. See, I hide all mine.
All right.
Now, the real question is, will Jonathan have gotten this in the system by now?
No way.
Answer 0, right? Probably not possible.
I don't know. Spill blood. 1 cost red warrior action. 3 defense. Axes you control.
Oh, hello.
Gain +2 and dominate until the end of turn. Go again. And look at this art. He's got like the Roman, whatever you call that headpiece on. With
Yeah, the peacock hat.
giant axe that looks awesome.
So we now know, oh my gosh, that's so good.
Seems relevant.
For Bolton axes, that is so good. That is devastating. Oh my gosh.
Luckily, it'll be widely available as a Majestic.
My gosh. Wow. Okay,
It's
Spill Blood's an incredible card.
Very good. And the thing is, we're still only catching glimpses of the full picture.
You know what less capable game designers would do? They would make a card called Spill Blood.
All kinds of things.
It would cost 1, and they would say weapons you can control gain +2 and have dominate until the end of the turn. Because they would think, well, given the current situation, people are going to use this with axes, it's good. But then they wouldn't think about the fact that later on in the game, it's going to be a problem. So they say, we're going to have axes in a pocket, and we're going to control all the cards that axes specifically get. They don't get Razor Reflex.
Well,
right? They don't get Pummel.
And it's a warrior card.
And it's warrior
So
card.
only warriors with axes can play this card.
Right now, currently. All right, Levia, Shadowborn Abomination. We talked about it. Let's move on to the Death Hydra, Hexagore.
Ooh-wee.
That's technically a Morning Star.
It's a flail?
Technically not. A Morning Star has a
What's a Morning Star?
bludgeoning instrument or some kind of instrument attached by chain. They were designed to go over the tops of shields. A mace has a connected club element. That makes sense?
What you may not know, but chat will know.
I'll know.
The weapon the Witch King has in the Return of the King in the movie.
I've never seen that. I'm just kidding. I've seen that.
But
What does it is it connected by a thing or not?
It is connected on like kind of a chain.
Then yeah,
but it's
Morningstar.
this like big, terrifying thing that can really hurt people.
Classic Morningstar technology.
I think that we got that. What was it? Spill blood? Let's see if it pops. My thing reloaded, so it makes me think it's there.
Oh, maybe it's in the Dropbox. Yeah.
And I have an extra number down here.
I've seen too much already. I don't need to see it.
I gotta go find my shirt. There it is.
There's Hexagon.
Flail. So it is a flail. People saying. Steven saying Morningstar is a ball on a stick.
Yeah, flail. Flail
but
is
this
correct.
is a flail. It looks a lot like
flail
this.
is like the family, and then usually I think Morningstar is specifically a spiky ball. I don't know. It's the player's handbook from D&D.
Yeah.
That's all this is from. But all flails are connected by chain or rope or something, and then maces are not connected.
What? This card's crazy.
All right, once per turn action, 2 cost, attack for 6. Whenever you attack with it, it deals damage to you equal to 6 minus the number of cards with blood debt in your banish zone. Get 6 or more cards with blood debt in your banish zone. It costs you no life to do a 2 for 6 attack.
That's good.
Isn't that insane?
Bravo pays 3 for 6 sometimes, 4 for 6 all the time with Sledge of Ambelheim.
Yeah.
I do like that card.
That's an incredible card, but it takes a while until it's good.
Yeah, which is a good penalty.
Yeah. It's classic Shadow, man. I mean, they're begging you to take the deal. Put all these cards with blood debt into your banish zone. I dare you. Hey kid.
Hey
I dare
kid.
you.
Yeah, that's crazy. Blake, that's a good question. Saying, from my inexperience with CCGs, does it make the game more fun that really good cards or essential equipment are majestic or rare? It just seems to make enjoying the game way more expensive. So one thing I think they're balancing really well is that they're making the really rare cards worth collecting and playing, but also it doesn't prevent you from competing. There are some, like the class-specific equipment early on, I think was really important, any of those. But given the way Unlimited's working, like I think you can get most of those for $100, $150. And if you're focused in on 1 or 2 classes, it's really not, compared to any other CCG, not as expensive to be in the game and to play and to be competitive. If you want to own all of it, yeah, it's not going to be cheap. But that's just the nature of the way it works.
You know what? It makes me feel like in a different kind of way. I know that there's money involved, so it is different. But I remember in World of Warcraft where I spent probably 3 months going to the same instance looking for Dalrin's main sword. I was playing a sword rogue, of course, which is like a strong tier 2 class.
Classic.
But I needed this piece of gear to like fully realize my potential. And so I did that for like 3 months. It finally dropped. I finally won the role. I got it. And I have never forgot that feeling. That happened the next day. I went off to kind of a forestry trail building thing for a month. And so I got it. I put it down. I went. I thought about it the entire time I was building trails.
Fully fulfilled.
And then I came back and I started wrecking everybody, and I loved it.
That's awesome.
It was great.
Yeah. So it strikes and gutters, right?
That's
like,
right. Strikes and gutters.
Some of my, like even opening the Tunic back in August or whenever it was like, that was amazing. I wanted it. It's a great card. But at the same time, like there's upsides to that.
Yeah.
That element of it.
And you know, I guess you just have to approach the game in the way that you want to or can approach it. Like Zach and I, we played collectible games as kids, and we had like 1 box.
Yeah.
The whole time we had like 1 box of every set. Now, our experience with that 1 box was probably better than people that had 20 boxes and were trying to compete in big events. But like if that's your game, play that game and enjoy it. Like it really is a adaptable format. The pressure that a lot of times people kind of mistakenly feel from a community that's always talking about the hot, big, awesome builds and stuff. You can totally discount that. Just be like, I'm just going to play sealed. Yeah. I'm going to spend $20 every couple of months and play a sealed game of this.
Well, and I know a lot of people that have played collectible games, and myself included, for a long time. Mostly sealed and draft, but then also you're collecting your 1 or 2 classes, trading, selling, everything else. And you might have to buy, like we bought singles as kids when we were going to a big tournament. Dark Sacrifice, I remember that show.
I remember that, yeah.
Cruising in. But it's a part of the way these games work. So don't be surprised when that's the case. Although, I mean, they're doing like that gold gallantry. That's a really good example of like a different way to play that's a common equipment slot that has been a legendary for the warrior class.
Right.
So I think as time goes on, it's totally going to be possible to play with mostly inexpensive cards.
And also keep this other thing in mind. As far as hobbies go, like for me to get into kayaking, which I did for a time, it's $1,000 to get a boat.
Yeah.
To get into sailing is $5,000, right? So like all hobbies have some kind of cost associated, and that's going to be a consideration you have to make whenever you're thinking about where is the line for me on what I want to be involved in. Like I'm into cycling, but I got my bike used for $40. And then my friend Eric over here spent like 10 grand.
No way.
Oh yeah. Dude, you can spend so much on bikes. It is a never-ending drain of like new rims, fiberglass bars, etc. But you don't have to. And that's the thing is like, he was better, his bike was better than mine. But I had a great time pedaling. You know, I explored some stuff, so I had a good time.
Yeah. Night is apparently saying that most Magic Tier 1 decks are at least $1,000.
Yeah, and like, I don't know.
Flesh and Blood is nowhere near that, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, that's good. Yeah, for Unlimited at least. Once Crucible Unlimited comes out, that'll be okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And a recap, I saw some corrections in the chat. Morningstar, Spiked Ball, Mace, Bludgeoning only, both connected to a stick. Flail versions of both exist.
With a chain
which is on the chain, which was, again, designed to go over a shield.
Yeah. Or to look awesome if you're the Witch King.
Or to look awesome. But they have downsides, too, where, like, if they get wrapped up in stuff, they're rendered useless. Yeah. Let's talk about Hooves of the Shadow Beast. Shadow Brute equipment, specifically for Shadow Brute.
Yep.
Whenever a card with 6 or more is put into the banish zone, destroy it to gain an action point. So that's wonderful. This is like giving something go again, but better. And it has one with battle warning.
You get a block with it once, and then you get a free action at some point.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Then Yellow Deep-Rooted Evil, another Shadow Brute attack. We spoiled this one, actually. Yep. 3 cost, yellow. Card with 6 or more, it's been put into your banish zone. You may play Deep-Rooted Evil from your banish zone. And then we have Blood Debt on this card. So if you do 6 or more, now we talked about what the warrior class is turning into. We see that it's about managing the precision and finesse of attacks better than any other class. We know that Brute's design philosophy is they have all strong attacks, 6 or more, but they always balance it against randomness.
Yeah.
So you're usually having some kind of a random discard or random effects that are good when they happen, but not always consistent. So this is a good way to mitigate that. Costs 3, it does 6, and then you can play it from your banish zone to get a Blood Debt card out if you need to, and if you just need a 3 for 6 attack.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a 6, which is the key number, right? Because to trigger like Levi's ability, you want a 6 to go into your banish zone, and this is where we get to the kind of underlying benefit of being able to play a card that you didn't have to play from hand. Because 3 for 6 is fine math, right?
It's technically worse than the generics.
Yeah, but because you always have access to it in your banish pile, a single blue in your hand is a 6 damage attack.
Yeah, assuming that you've banished something this turn with 6 or more. Which, here's my one critique.
Yeah, there you go.
I wish that was a keyword. Banish something of 6 or more, call it like sacrifice.
Yeah, in the same way charge is a keyword, that kind of a thing.
I'm sure there's a reason. There's always a reason for these kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a card that's trying to do a lot. It's a Blood Debt card, so when it's banished, it's going to have other effects that compound. It's a card that you can play from your banished pile. It's also yellow, so it's a pretty good on the cost curve. And that's it. So there's one more, and again, it's not a tree with a mouth. There's figures down there looking at the tree. I keep thinking it was a tree with a mouth.
It is not.
This evil is deep-rooted. It's a tree that's eating things, which is terrifying. 2 cost red, Shadow of Blasmophet is next. Another 6 cost attack.
I remember that Blasmophet joke from last week.
It does have Blood Debt, and so this is the Shadow Brute thing, is Blood Debt.
Those dragons?
Yeah, dude, look at those crazy shadow dragons up on the spire.
Don't get me started on shadow dragons.
You know, they're moody shadow dragons too. You know, they're conflicted.
My favorite.
They kind of want to be good, but they don't know. Draw a card, then discard a random card. This is the Brute mechanic kicking in. If a card with 6 or more is discarded this way, search your deck for a card with Blood Debt, banish it, shuffle your deck. Super consistent on an attack itself.
So you play the attack, you draw a card, discard a random card. If 6 or more is discarded, then you can banish a card, which would trigger Levi's ability.
Right.
And get something in the banish zone that you want in the banish zone.
And then you search for any card with blood depth. Yeah, banish it, like you said. Search for it, banish it, shuffle.
Okay, so if you only ran 6 damage attacks,
Yeah, common.
draw, discard random, you know it's going to hit. You go get a card, put it in your banish zone.
Now, the great thing about Brute, though, and if having built a good number of Brute decks, you can't just run 6 damage attacks. There's too many good cards to do that. So drawing a card at the start of your discard chain is actually a balancing mechanic to introduce a level of inconsistency that is otherwise probably too good.
Yeah.
Because standard Brute cards discard what's left in your hand, so you can tailor your hand to make sure it happens. This is like no matter what, unless you're out of them because your deck is thin.
Or you're good at opting.
Or you're good at opting. Exactly. That's correct.
That is correct.
Endless Maw, I love this art, actually. 3 cost
It is
red.
Creepster.
As an additional cost, banish 3 random cards from your graveyard. So again, we have seen that the Ray of Hope is going to attack this exact kind of thing.
Yeah.
If a card with 6 or more is banished this way, it gains +3, so it becomes a 9 attack for 3.
3 for 9 all day long.
All day. But beautiful balance. You can only use it at least a little bit into the game where your discard pile has grown so that you can banish 3. And if you have a lot of these cards, you can't use them because all of them are getting banished instead of discarded.
Yeah. So the Endless Maw is endless. At some point, you run out of cards.
Yeah, it's not exactly endless. At some point, there's no graveyard left.
Oh, and there's different colors of this one.
Yep. Standard attack. And this is a pretty good one to have in different colors because the +3 is static value. So like going from a 6 to a 5 is not that significant.
A 3 for 7 on the blue is great.
Yeah, it's actually phenomenal.
That's great.
In a lot of ways, 7s and 8s are as good as 9s.
And a 3 defense? Yeah, and if you block in 3 pockets of 3, a 7 is just as good.
If you're used to playing Warrior and having everything blocked for 3, then let me tell you. 2 cost, Convulsions from the Bellows of Hell.
Right there on the nose.
I don't know that a name can get longer than this on a Fab card.
Yeah, that text is pretty small.
Yeah, very tiny, long.
Get my magnifying. It's like that meme where you say,
Shadowbrood action. Unless you just want to keep watching Zach
do this.
do this.
It's a good time. I'm having a good time.
Now, let me tell you, you do. It's where the party's at. As an additional cost to play it, banish 3 randoms from the graveyard.
All right.
So again, how many of these can you include?
I mean, at most, you could do that 18 times.
Yeah.
19 times, because you have to play this card.
And then sometimes you're going to banish the card instead of it going to the graveyard for various reasons.
Now, cards you can play from your banish zone make this higher. Because
And
you
then
play
they
it,
go
it goes
back,
to the
and then they
discard
go
pile,
in.
and it's just a big old cycle.
Back and forth forever.
Yeah. It's like a ecosystem right there.
If a card with 6 or more is banished this way, probably of all of them, the next attack action is +3 with Dominate.
Oh, okay. So this is a booster.
Yep. And
That's a great
Dominate.
card.
Imagine this with like Endless Maw, right?
+3 Dominate, now you're at 12 with Dominate. They're going to be swinging for some pain. Like, serious pain.
Yeah, that's awesome. These are your big swings. See, this is what you're into. And then that's in red, yellow, blue as well. And I don't think you play this at anything but red. Because really +3, 2, 1 is kind of on that where it's like, I'm really losing value here.
I would go down to +2 if yellow curve matters a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fine exchange. Once you go down to 1, though, it's like, I got to really need the blues for this to matter.
Fab Discord with the actual point here that I'm missing entirely. Dominate's really the biggest thing on this card, and it's on all 3 versions. Yeah. So I could see it.
Especially with these, like, all your attacks are 6. So even +1 gets you to 7 with Dominate. But
that's pretty good.
Again, they don't. The weird thing is they don't have a lot of hit effects. So
I've never seen one on a Brute card.
Yeah, so the Dominate doesn't matter as much. Unless you're playing Pummel, then it matters.
Then it matters. Yeah. Or unless you're, it's like they have 5 life. And then
the thing about it, though, is, again, Dominate's so interesting to me as a Bravo player.
Yeah.
Because even if I'm playing Pummel and I'm dominating to get the damage plus the hit effect, a lot of times a 7 damage attack with Pummel is now a 10 or 11. So to avoid the hit effect, they have to discard all the cards anyway.
They would have to block with 4 before you even play the Pummel, and then you save the Pummel.
So then Dominate is really only to actually sink damage in. It's not about hit effects, weirdly.
Not that hit effect, at least.
Not discard hit effects, yeah. Well, the only hit effect that matters.
Yeah, it is, man. Cards are everything. That's the money.
It is a card game.
All right, now to our promo. Boneyard Marauder Red. All TC subscribers to first edition boxes will be getting one of these per box that you're getting in your sub. It is in rainbow foil, and it is entirely different art. Thank you so much, A Legend Store, for providing that. That is just so fun to be able to send to people. 1 cost. Bone Marauder, red. I think it's their most efficient attack that we've seen. 1 for 6.
It's good.
Banish 3 from the graveyard, Blood Debt. It's the simplest, most efficient Brute Shadow attack that we will see.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that if you're playing Shadow Brute, it's sort of a staple.
Yeah.
Like the 3 plus you're swinging 1 for 6, and you're going to probably hit Levia's ability to avoid Blood Debt.
And it has Blood Debt on it. So, you banish these out, and then, I think it's...
and it's the 6, right? So it means that when you do banish it, you get to trigger all the stuff. It's kind of the ideal card for that class.
This is a good one to play at 4s and 5s. Yellow and blue. It's a good one to play at 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
So, you still got to get some in the boxes, but that red one, the promo, that's for the real winners. Think about that 6. You get +1 with a little bump effect, like the one we looked, the Convulsions. That's a blue Convulsion on this. It bumps it to 7. That's a 3-card block, and you got Dominate on it anyway. I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it working. Good finisher. Moving on to Deadwood Rumbler, 3 cost.
Is that a tree?
That is. That actually is a tree with a mouth.
Wow.
So we have trees with mouths made of shadows.
We have shadow ants.
Trees with actual mouths. And a lot of blood. Something very unsettling about trees bleeding, is there not?
I don't think that's the tree's blood.
Ooh, even weirder. 3 cost, 8 damage attack. 3 for 8's notably good in this game. Draw a card, discard a random one. If it's the 6 or more, banish a card from a graveyard. From a graveyard. A graveyard.
You could, if a shadow v shadow matchup, you could really rack up their own blood debt.
Or if there's a lot of recursion in the game, if your opponent's running Remembrance, if they're, like we've seen Memorial Ground or whatever that puts things on top from the graveyard, you can get rid of the threats, like Sleep Dart with Azalea. Banish those things out of here. We don't want to see those ever
Gone.
again.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 for 8, and then you potentially, you banish a card. So you could...
Yours or theirs.
So if you discard a 6, you can guarantee you get Levia's ability with this.
Yeah. 100%.
It's going to be really good for her.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's an 8 that comes in multiple colors.
Yellow is where this one's at.
Even the blue is a 6.
6, come on, that's a 2-card block. 7 puts it to a 3. Let's go.
I'm just saying to get the 6 on the Shadow Brute.
Oh, true. Actually, that's incredibly relevant.
It's a blue that
6,
also
7,
triggers
8.
your 6.
It's so
it
good.
reminds
It's like
me
Wrecker
of
Romp.
in Bravo early on. It was like, well, what are my blues that can also hit for 7? Because with Dominate, I'm likely to get the hit effect. Those are just particularly good cards. So the same here. Anything with a 6 is also a blue.
Yeah, totally
Downside,
true.
look at that defense value.
Oh, non-existent. I didn't even see
It's an
that.
attack with no defense. Not common.
Why do they hurt me like this? That's awful. I like defense, though.
Yeah, well, you're
Wow.
not defending here.
Huh.
Like I said earlier, best defense is a great offense.
Moving on to Dread Screamer. This is the kind of art that makes me uncomfortable.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I will say, like in the spoils, there was definitely art in that game that made me very uncomfortable. It was either too sexual, too violent, too creepy, too whatever.
Yeah.
This all the shadow stuff is like if this line is my line, I'm like here.
You're on it.
I'm
You're walking
almost on it.
Yeah.
Where it's like just almost too much for me.
Here's the interesting thing too. So I've heard there are people that love this stuff, like Dr. Monk in the chat. I love this art. There are people that love this stuff, and I love people. Well, kind of. I probably love a lot of you, but
This got weirdly personal.
there's a lot of people that also are turned off by this, and that's normal. That's fine. The thing that I like about it is that I think Shadow Brute, I can't imagine a grosser art style than Shadow Brute in the game.
I assume it's probably the grossest.
Probably the grossest.
There could
right?
probably be darker.
Yeah. But not darker
more
and also
evil.
exploding a jaguar, because like all Brute artwork is just exploding blood stuff.
Yeah, I do think that it's good to get this in early.
Yeah.
Because if people are going to be uncomfortable with it, they need to know now and not like 5 years from now.
And to know that it probably will not get any worse.
Yeah. Now, the combo here for me is that not only is it gross, but then you have like the guy chained up. So there's this like dark psychological thing going on.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like all those scenes in Game of Thrones with Theon. It's like,
There's too,
I just didn't need it.
yeah.
I stopped watching.
There were scenes before the glorious 8th season. we rewatched Thrones, and there were scenes that I did not need to see again, and I didn't. I just skipped them, right?
We get it. Torture.
Yeah, or like even the fight between like the Viper and the Mountain. It's like the fight is cool. I don't need to see the end of that.
Sure.
I can hear it, whatever. I just don't want to watch that ever again.
Right.
And that's cool.
Sometimes you don't want to fill your head with certain things.
Yeah.
You know? Also, in case, Zach, real quick, in case you're
out of water,
you're out of water.
I'm gonna get some more water while you.
Let me tell you why Zach's having to go get water. Because first of all, he's got a small container, which is silly. This is a stream. We're going to be talking about things for hours. You could have 48 ounces of high quality H2O in my favorite and yours, a Nalgene water bottle made in the USA, 100% HDPE food grade plastic. One of the friends of the show, great sponsor of ours, $10,000 every time we mention them. 48 ounces, but also most importantly, you get to close it. And so if there's important cards on the board, you're not going to spill your drink on them, which seems obvious to me that you should do this when your Flesh and Blood card's on the table. But I've got somebody around me who's just using an open glass, pint glass.
Around the cold foil. When
he could be using 100% HPA. If you go, water your life, water your friends, keep those brains wet, and let's keep talking.
So I want to add something here as well, kind of on a macro. So this card's close, but the interesting thing to me, and this is what is important, if a game is this and only this, like if the fabric of a world in a game is just dark, usually if it's only dark, I don't have that much interest.
Sure.
So the idea that we have light versus dark, though, the more dark you get, as long as the moral of the story is not that, like, oh, we all love the dark and like that.
Yeah, like, well, Arkham in a lot of ways is that's kind of futilely flailing against the dark forces of the universe.
Ultimately, the point of the game is to try to, in Arkham, survive and overcome the dark.
Yeah.
Because, you know, real things can be bad and dark and like evil. And so I'm not uncomfortable with the idea of evil existing in a game as long as it's balanced out.
Sure.
Which, of course, they're introducing this right next to light, so it is. But
I mean, there's a reason like vampire and stuff never really floated our boat.
Yeah.
Not that to say that it's wrong or invalid to enjoy that kind of stuff. I don't like black metal, death metal, and I have friends who love it. So like, you know, do your thing. Meantime, I'm going to be probably playing Dread Screamer because I am probably going to try Shadow Brute. 2 cost, additional cost, banish 3 from the graveyard. If a card with 6 is banished this way, go again. Important, and it has Blood Debt. So a 2 for 6, probably with go again, 3 defense is an incredibly good value.
That is a great card.
Incredibly good.
Yeah.
And keep this in mind too. Keep this in mind. Brute traditionally has struggled with go again because you have to discard cards from hand to power your cards. Mm-hmm. This is not hurting your hand. It's taking it from the graveyard. So Shadow Brute is going to be way better at these kinds of go agains.
Yeah, but they also have, like, Standard Brute has Intimidate.
Yeah.
Shadow Brute has none of that.
Yep.
So they have to be better because your opponent's going to have more options in terms of blocking.
Now let's also remember, Shadow Brutes can run some of the Intimidate cards. So like, how are you going to chain that together?
But they don't have Reinhar's ability.
They don't have Reinhar's ability.
They're not as intimidating,
Totally
which is
different.
weird because they feel intimidating.
Yeah, because Reinhar's coming out of the woods like, whoa, and then you're like, ah.
James that was asking if where to get answers about some shipping questions. You can ask general questions here. We're happy to answer, of course. What up, Tim? Going well. Just looking at a bunch of
see your bro in the chat
cards
there. Let's look at Chain Bound by Shadow since we've now moved on.
There's 3 colors.
There's 3 of those. So that's all the Shadow Brute pool that we've seen. So you get you get a sense of what it's doing, right? So Shadow's going to be putting things in the banish zone with Blood Debt of some kind.
Particularly Blood Debt.
And they're going to be paying the cost of having things there, but they're going to have access to a second resource.
I assume generic Shadow, kind of like Light was about putting cards in the soul, generic Shadow is about putting cards in the banish zone / using them.
Yep.
Whereas Brute Shadow is about the Blood Debt.
Yeah. And Shadow, I think, across the board is about the Blood Debt. I
so
think
all Shadow is Blood Debt.
Yeah.
Which is put cards in the banish zone that have a cost if you don't do something about it.
Now, Brute is doing that by randomly putting them from the graveyard in, and 6 or more attacks being the engine there.
Yeah.
So we don't know what Runeblade's going to do.
So Brute is, but that's because Brute is about the randomness and the 6.
Yeah.
Shadow is about Blood Debt in the banish zone.
Yeah.
Shadow Brute is about the combination of the 2.
That's right.
Okay.
And then we know Runeblade is about essentially generating.
Awesome.
It's about generating tokens that represent the hero, basically. Because we
They're
know
runes, they're chants.
Viscera is rune chant mainly, and we know Chain is not, but
Yeah.
he's making these other tokens that are weird. So
Still
it's
something.
It's like the hybrid warrior wizard class.
Which is interesting because all of the standard rune blade cards, not all of them, a lot of them create rune chants. So if Chain is a rune blade, not concerned about rune chants, it makes the generic rune blade cards not as synergistic as we've seen. Like in the Brute case, the original, it's like Intimidate's a generically useful thing.
But
6
it's
damage attacks.
specifically good with Rhinar, exactly.
6 damage attacks are generically good.
Yeah.
But if you're generating rune chants that Chain's not using, that's going to be an interesting thing to comprehend.
100%, man. I'm into it. So Roland here saying that Runeblade is about banishing from deck/hand and playing from banished. Brute has almost no cards they can play from banished. I guess we'll see. Let's look at that Runeblade. And did we have a question about shipping? I think I saw that come through. James there.
What sort of additional charges would there be for shipping to Canada near Toronto if that makes a difference for a subscription? So
Got a great answer to this.
if you add a subscription to your cart and go to checkout, you'll see the shipping options and it'll tell you. So if you're on like 3 unlimited box sub, you'll easily be able to see it. And it's based on weight and all that kind of stuff. So there's no extra charge. It'll just show it in the cart once you get to that point.
Yeah. So let's look at Chain. Bound by Shadow, 440. Once per turn, create a Soul Shackle token. So this is similar to a Rune Chant token.
So a Soul Shackle token, we'll see what that does.
Your next Rune Blade or Shadow action this turn gains Go Again. And then this has Go Again.
So once a turn, you can create one of these tokens. And then your next Shadow or Rune Blade action, not even attack, just action, has Go Again.
Action. Now, does that count like weapons?
It's an action.
It's an action, right?
Yeah.
So it counts anything. Now, the Soul Shackle token is way past you. You don't even have to go to it. I can explain it to you. Beginning of your action phase, banish the top card of your deck.
Okay. So you can create a token that the start of your next turn, you're going to banish the top card of your deck.
Random card from the top.
Which could be a card you want in your banish zone.
It could.
So maybe this isn't even a cost.
Or it could not be. But
Also, can I just take
it
a
could also
second?
be a card with Blood Debt.
So there could be a penalty. And we don't have Levia's ability to ignore blood debt.
And you could also just run out of deck.
Could be a penalty. But in the mid game, not a penalty.
Yeah, not a penalty.
Potentially. Well, I'm going to come back to that.
We'll see what happens.
Plus opt and all that kind of stuff. But this art is extraordinary.
You seen the full piece?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Like,
makes you sad you got borders on the cards, and that's crazy to say
because
the
these borders are
awesome.
great. And they're trying to show us as much as art as possible, because even the text box, it has like a clear box
Yeah,
behind
it's
it.
true. It's true.
But like this character in cold foil is going to be absurd.
Yeah. And didn't you see that weird promo of it? No, that was the Ursur token or whatever. God, what are they doing?
You mean the only thing I've thought about since that moment?
What are they up to?
I also love the young version being so different.
Just Chain. Yeah, it looks, just kind of a standard troubled character there, huh?
See,
Doesn't seem like conflicted like Viscera.
Viscera
Just more
seems
like, I'm just
conflicted,
evil. I just like
which
to
is
kill
cool,
things.
because Chain is Shadow explicitly. Viscera is from the place that specializes in Shadow, but he has not fallen to the shadows yet. That's what I'm saying. He feels like he's struggling with it.
I feel like Chain never had a chance.
He was just built this way.
Yeah, Chain was just like, well, it's just the way I was. Galaxy Black is the sword here for Shadow Ruin Blades only. Two-handed sword. Once per turn, a 1-for-1 attack. So that's technically not good. That's like a Kodachi, but it's two-handed, doesn't have Go Again. Let's see what makes it better. If you played a card from your banished zone this turn, Galaxy Black gains +2 until end of turn.
so they're
it's
gonna
1 for 3.
Hopefully play from Banished more often.
Which makes that Soul Shackle way better. Probably not even a cost. If Galaxy Black hits a hero, deal 1 to that hero, arcane damage.
So it's really a 1-for-4 that is divided between arcane and regular damage.
But it does 3, which is the standard block. So if you pitch 1 card to it, you don't take the arcane damage.
But if you boost it to hit, it just gets worse.
It gets real bad, and you're never blocking 1 arcane damage from this. Not a chance. There's not a chance you're doing that. You're not pitching a card out of your hand to block 1 arcane damage.
I don't know if this is good or bad, but Emil says, I look at Chain and I think of Zach. Or is it vice versa?
Good question.
I'll take that well and hope it's good.
Let's go to blue. I love the weapon design in this game. I live for a time in 10 years where there's 20 weapons that I can choose for any one character I'm playing.
Picture,
I will.
you know when you open a binder
Yeah, all the
Just
weapons.
picturing all your weapons there.
It's like, you know how you kind of, in those movies where they have the secret weapon shop in the back, you know, and then they flip the things around and there's just guns and
absolutely.
chains.
Men in
and,
Black is a good example of that.
That's a great example.
Kingsman, another good example of that.
Yeah.
Anything with agents in it, example of that. Galaxy Black, just want to point out, I love the way this card looks, and I have said this a lot, but that card in cold foil is also going to be just murder.
Yeah, and Nidus with the hits here, it does that arcane damage on the swing, does trigger meet and greet, consuming volition, etc., because you've done arcane damage.
Nice.
So we're seeing ways that Runeblade card pool can interact differently without rune chant tokens.
Which I like a lot.
Yeah.
Tyler also, I appreciate this. He says, Zach is more like the light version of Chain. I'll take it. I don't know what it means, but I'll take it.
Well, you don't know Zach in private.
That's right.
The persona
Kind of like the Rodney
maybe
situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a total disaster.
Just ask his brother Tim's in the chat. Just ask Tim if Zach is treated the light version of Chain.
Well, how I treat Tim is not the same way I interact with the world. Brother stuff, you know?
Let's talk about We'll get to some equipment later here. Talk about Shadow of Ursa, Shadow Runeblade attack.
Okay.
Blue.
Majestic.
You may play it from your banish zone. It's a 0 for 2. As an additional cost, you may banish a card with Blood Debt. If you do, it gains Go again.
So hold on. 0 for 2. You can play it from Banish Zone. If you banish a card from your hand with Blood Debt, it also gets Go again.
That's right.
Huh.
I'm not sure that,
Hold on, let me go back to Chain.
when I first
wrap my brain around this.
when I first see this, I think to myself,
what a wonderful world.
I'm not gonna probably give this Go again a lot. Maybe not true that I not played it, but what I do think is would I
finish out a turn?
Would I end a great number of turns by playing a 0/2 with no card cost and no resource cost
from downtown?
From downtown.
Are you sure?
Free 2 damage.
Now picture
blocking
this.
that?
Picture this. Perhaps you have 2 of these in your hand, or in your 3 of these in your banish zone. You could play all 3 in the same turn, pretty easily, with either Chain's ability to get a Soul Shackle, give it Go again.
Yeah.
But check this out. So yeah, you could literally Soul Shackle to give the first one Go again. Play the second one, put 1 card over, give it Go again. Play the third one. And
so if you're banishing cards that can be played from the banish zone, there's no cost.
Literally, if you banish one of these from your hand, you can then immediately play it and get it out of your thing.
So Shadow Runeblade, banishing things that can be played from banish zone to satisfy costs is going to be just incredible.
Yeah, like the Soul Shackle token. If you have a lot of stuff that you can play from, literally you play all the things you can play from over there.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's devious.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, gotta watch that one. That could be real good. 2 cost Dimensional Crossroads, or should I say Dimensional Crossroads? Yellow.
Tim's response to how I treated him, he said, more like the talentless version.
That is good.
That's good. He says, I'm here all night. That's a good joke.
That's a quality burn.
I actually laugh at his jokes these days because they're good.
Dimensional Crossroads is a 2-cost Shadow Runeblade action. It's an aura.
Oh my goodness.
It has Go again like all auras. It looks beautiful.
That's just the Witch King.
There's a weird number of bodies down there. We don't like that they're shaved. It's like those hairless cats.
Yeah, it looks like he shall not be named.
At one point I knew somebody who loved hairless cats.
There's a name.
I'll leave it at that. There's a name. Yeah, there's a lot of names for that. Whenever you play an attack action card or a non-attack action card, so this is the Runeblade we're used to, from the banish zone, if you haven't played another card of that type this turn, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So this is an aura you put in play, and then basically I want to play an attack from banish to do an arcane, and then I want to play a non-attack to do 1 arcane. But if I play 2 attacks, the second one doesn't do arcane damage. So if I want to min-max this, I play 1 from banish that's an attack, 1 from banish that's a non-attack. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So that's 2 free arcane damage. And if you lose life during your turn, you destroy it. Otherwise, it stays in play.
Wow.
So if you don't suffer Blood Debt, for instance, which I think is the normal way that this is going to go away, or you don't suffer an attack from your opponent. Wait, it's only during your turn.
Yeah, and Blood Debt happens at the first of the turn.
It stays in play no matter what your opponent does. It's just your Blood Debt that can hurt it.
Or if they damage you during your turn, like with your defense reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Trap.
Or like wizard stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, hold on.
Wow.
People saying the Soul Shackle token doesn't say destroy it. So it stacks?
It doesn't say destroy to banish to the top card? Hold on, I'll look
I've
it
never
up.
seen it.
I'll look it. It's way over here. Soul Singer in the Session Band. That's right. That's right.
What's it say?
At the beginning of your action phase, banish the top card of your deck. So you get 6 out, you banish the top 6 every time.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. They stay in the arena.
How does one get rid of it?
You don't. It's your soul is being shackled. You're constantly you're pushing your, you don't have to make it. I mean, it's a chain only wants to go again every so often, I imagine.
Hold on.
So you probably have like 4 or 5, you banish 5, you play like 3 or 4 from banish zone. You banish 5, you play 2 or 3 from, yeah, it's crazy, man.
What is happening?
So you're playing Shadow Runeblade now?
See, I think people thought that I would know what these cards did before we got here, and I haven't seen most of these.
They didn't know the True Seekers. We don't really know what anything does most of the time, well after we've actually read it.
Yeah, you just hope that it sounds normal. Well, hey, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So looking back at Chain's ability, giving something go again is actually like a steep cost. You get a permanent token.
Yes, but if you can play 90% of your deck from the banish zone, it's not a cost at all.
Yeah, but eventually that train runs out of steam.
Eventually.
Yeah.
You're clocking.
But
I mean, block big, go home.
3 is a pretty good number. Because especially if you have a lot of stuff you can play from over there.
Yeah.
Because you never have to play from hand.
I say you do 7. I think 7's the right number.
Yeah.
Gives you a good spread.
The number of completion.
That's right.
In Hebrew.
Blue invert existence for 1. Now, one thing we've seen is a lot of blue cards at the Majestic level and yellow. So Shadow of Ursur is blue at Majestic. Dimensional Crossroads is blue or yellow at Majestic. Invert is blue at Majestic. So again, like we're talking about light, this is putting your cost curve much higher. So you're probably pitching a lot of these cards. Invert existence, 1 cost, play it from your banish zone, banish 2 cards in an opposing hero's graveyard. If you do an attack action and non-attack action, deal 2 arcane to that hero, blood debt, so play it out quick. And it's an instant. So that's kind of wizard tricks. You can do that on their turn.
Yeah, but if you're doing it against a wizard, it's not so good because they don't have any attack actions.
True.
Yeah.
Not this wizard, not Kano. But who knows what the next wizard might have.
Magic.
We saw a warrior only use weapons and attack reactions, but now the new warrior uses attacks. So maybe we'll see a wizard with attacks. Actually play the game.
Okay. Got him.
Yeah, people saying that people have been playing Chain on Tabletop Simulator. I'm so disinterested in that. But apparently, the reporting is that you pitch a lot of cards from your hand to power the stuff that you're playing for your banish zone.
That makes sense.
And that Soul Shackle or that the Blood Debt happens in the end phase, not at the start phase. So you'll at least get dimensional once or twice before it goes away.
You just don't ever play blood debts.
Yeah, play them out of your thing.
The best way to handle situations is not be in debt.
That's right.
Especially blood debts. That seems terrifying.
Blood debts are not the debts that you want. But then, sometimes maybe you have 5 shackle tokens and it's like blood debt, blood debt, blood debt. And maybe it's like of your 10 blood debt cards or 15, you hit all of them and you can't play them all out. And then you're in a troubling situation.
You better have ways to play them.
You better. Invert Existence is a good card. So look at Unhallowed Rites. Red, 1 for 4 Shadow Runeblade attack, has 3 defense. So, just stop there. Red 1, 4, 3 is like the good attack template.
We're in the money.
Yeah. If you've played a non-attack action card this turn, you may play it from your banish zone. You may put a non-attack action card with Blood Debt from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. So we're getting ourselves a little bit of life.
Yep.
Or a little bit of time. And then it has Blood Debt.
Great. That's a great card. It comes in all 3, I assume.
All 3, yeah.
Yep. All right,
full
print
spread. Then we got Dimensional Gateway, another Shadow Runeblade action. Red, 1 cost, 2 defense, so watch out, it must be good. Opt 3.
Is it the money?
Reveal the top card of your deck. So you opt first, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a Runeblade card, deal 1 arcane to each opposing hero. If it's a Shadow card, you may banish it.
I'm out of here.
Each opposing hero.
I'm done. Yeah, I love it. This is the kind of shadows I want to play.
Oh, this is good in yellow and blue too. Opt 2 and opt 1.
Yeah.
It's very good in yellow and blue.
Wow.
Ooh, Bounding Demagon. Have you seen this?
I love the blue-purple color palette.
Yeah.
A lot. A lot.
Bounding Demagon is a 0 for 3, so that's a standard template too. It has 3 defense, so that's better than the generic 0 for 3s. If you've played a non-attack action card this turn, you may play it from your Banish Zone. If you do, it gains +1, a 0 for 4 from the Banish Zone. So you're seeing a standard. So Ruined Blade has been living on play a non-attack action first, and then your stuff gets better.
Yeah.
So it seems like you're supposed to become the Arc Knight and become the Demagon and, you know, express yourself and then start attacking.
Yeah. So you essentially, from hand, you want to play the boost cards. I mean, you can play them from Banish Zone too.
Or your auras. There's some auras you can play.
All that, like, your next thing is +3, this thing, and then you can play these things from downtown for free.
You got to charge
which
up.
is cool.
Yeah, that's a great card. I would play the red is where you're wanted on this Demagon. Red is where it's at on this.
You know, there's 2 things I also want to note about this card that are interesting to me. One, the creepy ghouls in the background.
Yeah,
That's
very creepy.
But the thing I like is the wallpaper here.
Yeah.
Just makes this feel like you're kind of weaving the fabric of this setting.
Like lived in.
Yeah, it feels almost Victorian.
Yeah.
You know, like that, where you like watch these shows in the 1700s where they have like the nice houses with that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Which makes it just kind of feel like it's a real place.
It connects it a little more to the physicality that we're used to, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. Let's talk about Red Piercing Shadow Vise.
Wow.
2 cost, 2, 4, 3. So this one should get better because it's costing you 1 additional for that 4 attack. You can play it from your Banish Zone unconditionally, so you don't have to play a non-attack to do it. And if you've dealt arcane damage to an opposing hero this turn, it gains +2.
That's a good card.
A 2 for 6 out of your Banish Zone, and it has this is a great card. Full stop. Also, even if you don't get the +2, a 2 for 4 from your Banish Zone,
it's
pretty
fine.
Good.
Yeah, and you will get the +2. Like, this is where the rune chance actually makes sense.
Yeah.
If you play a card that generates a couple rune chance, then next turn it's like, play this from Banish Zone. So if you take the rune chance, this now gets +2. So you have to block the rune chance.
Yeah, it's really true. You can't block it all, you know. Not possible.
Kyle says, being in the monastery is basically what I imagine living in London would have been like during the plague.
That's great. Not bad, huh? Looking at Rift Bind, another Shadow Runeblade Blade attack. So we've seen a lot of Shadow Runeblade Blade cards have been
I love this art.
A 1 for 3, so it's a 1/3/3. So we assume it'll have something to pay for that 3, because I think 1/4/3 is kind of the standard good template. You can play it from your Banish Zone unconditionally. If you do, it gains X attack, where X is the number of non-attacks you have played this turn.
Classic Runeblade.
Classic Runeblade. Yep.
Okay.
And then Rip Through Reality, another Shadow Runeblade attack. You may play it from your Banish Zone. It's a 2/4/3. And if you've dealt arcane damage to an opposing hero, it gains Go Again. 2/4 from Banish Zone with Go Again. Slap ya mama, that's a good one.
If you've done arcane damage.
A lot of 3 defense stuff too, which is standard for all these
apparently
attacks.
we're going to get the Grim Reaper here.
Oh yeah.
Look at that thing.
the scythe.
Yeah,
We've already seen the scythe.
He's reaping.
But he's got like a mech. Oh no, that's a skull.
Yeah, or they wear masks like that. Like if you look back at
Skeletons can't wear masks.
Bounding Demagon.
They don't have ears.
He's got this like mask on. It reminds me almost like a Darth Revan. You wouldn't necessarily appreciate that.
What?
No offense.
What is that? Some expanded universe nonsense?
So I'm gonna let me look at Galaxy Black one more time, just so I can in some more context. It's 1 for 1. If you played a card from a Banish Zone, it gets +2, so that happens a lot.
Yeah, 1 for 3 is pretty standard.
If it hits, they also take an arcane damage.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then Chain can give one thing Go Again. Is that right? Once
Create
per
a
turn?
Soul Shackle token. Next Runeblade or Shadow action gets Go Again.
Right. So you're gonna have a lot to manage here, man. This is not the kind of thing I want to manage. You got this Banish Zone over here. You got, did I play a non-attack? Have I played an attack action? How many arcane am I doing? Have I done arcane damage before? Old man shakes fist at cloud. Seeds of Agony, red, 0, 2 defense. You may play it from your Banish Zone. It's an action.
Love
so
it.
this is your classic non-attack action we'll be looking at. The next attack action card with 2 or less deals 1 damage to target hero.
Straight up.
Arcane damage, I should say. And it has go again. That's beautiful. So you're just going to be a little da da da. You know what I mean? Like just a little ha.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because
Just a little slow burn.
the more of the chains that you have, the more options you get in your pile every turn.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you can't play, like all the go again stuff, depends on how many go agains you have from there. But if a lot of them have go again, I would be comfortable getting up to 4 or 5. It's like 4 or 5 dump over. 2 or 3 of them are playable. Like, make it happen.
100%.
Same as says Shadow Runeblade is like jazz music. Well, perfect.
Just play the right notes.
Interesting. Also, the art on Seeds of Agony is terrifyingly painful. Like the blood dripping down on the camera.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Agony
like
indeed.
What show does that?
It happened in Children of Men once. Apparently, it happened in Children of Men. I think I saw this.
I love that movie.
I love this song, my favorite movie. But they were doing the shot, and it was super expensive. And the moment happened, and there was explosions and stuff, and some fake blood splattered onto the camera. And apparently, the director yelled "cut," and it, like almost lost like thousands and thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands on the stunt. But because of everything going on, nobody heard it, so they kept rolling, and that scene would later win like an award.
Nice.
For getting like blood splatter on the.
You gotta love the accidental excellence.
Yeah, accidental excellence is really the mantra that I live by.
It's a chapter in my book.
That is the book. Zach Munn. How did I get here? Carrion Husk. Let's talk about the shadow equipment.
Yes. Oh man, I remember seeing these.
It's just awesome.
Also, the art on Soul Shackle token is awesome.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it?
I like that there's a cost to being evil.
Yeah, as there should be.
The
Otherwise,
justice
it's too
is
fun.
served here.
If you defend with it, banish it when the combat chain closes.
You get one shot.
At the start of your turn, if you have 13 or less life, banish it. 13, evil number.
So you have to use it before you get to 13 or less life.
Yeah. It has blood debt, so once it's banished, you can't play it out of there. So it's going to be draining you forever.
So you want to block with this at precisely the right moment.
Yeah, that's right. A Carrion Husk arrives at precisely.
And it's a legendary.
Yeah, it's a big
legendary alert. I need a soundboard.
Well, I mean, you basically get to have a free turn, and as we know, the summon stuff has 6 health. I don't think you can block for it with stuff like this, but maybe you can.
So, interesting.
But 6 attack becomes important against shadow stuff because they can summon the weird stuff. So now Carrion Husk is basically, I get a free turn of a full hand.
Yeah. Well,
how important is that in FAB? That's like 13, 14 damage most of the time.
And it's a tempo thing, right? So like one turn where I just get to shut it down means that I have a full hand, which means I apply pressure, which means you have to block with more, so it cascades out.
It always cascades.
But the blood death's going to make this cascade.
Yeah. It's got a little timer on it.
Yeah. Now, there are ways to get cards from your banish zone out, like even into the discard pile. So I would need to go look again.
Yeah, we got to look at those.
Because if you can block for 6 and get this into your discard pile, this card is going to be off the chain.
That's true.
Which I will say a lot when I'm playing chain.
Yeah. That turn was off the chain. Huh. Even Fold, some of my absolute favorite art on equipment in this game. Oh, it's so good. I love stuff like this.
And this in cold foil is going to be off the chain.
It's a 0 defense shadow headpiece. 1 cost instant, destroy it, banish a card from your hand. If it's a shadow card, draw a card. So essentially a free banish of anything in your hand.
And if you have only shadow cards in your hand, then it's a free draw.
That's right. You have to draw with this or else you shouldn't be doing it. And in Spell Void 2, so basically Blade Break for arcane damage. And I think this is a mechanic that needs to be in the game. You have Blade Break and Battle Worn. You have essentially Arcane Barrier and Spell Void. Good answers, different answers to the different damage types, and particularly in Limited, it's going to be really important to have those things.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then we've got some Shadow generic cards.
Mm-hmm.
The Shadow
Let's see what they're all
Instant,
about.
Blue, Doomsday, 0 cost. This is a legendary Levia specialization.
Interesting. So it's
It's
Shadow.
the only one we've seen, isn't
but you can only play it with Levia.
Yeah.
Also a legendary.
Yeah. That is all actually very interesting. How is this not a Shadow Brute card? Pretty fascinating, isn't it?
Let's see what it says.
Play Doomsday only if there are 6 or more cards with blood debt in your banished zone. Create a Blasmophet, the Soul Harvester token.
Which I assume is going to have to be insane.
Well, let's
'Cause-
take a look.
It's a specialization and a legendary.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And it's an instant, so you can do it at the end of your opponent's turn.
And Shiana can play this, but getting 6 blood deck cards in a Shiana deck is going to probably be tough.
Yeah, probably not ideal. But if you get 6 in there with Levia, that's totally reasonable. That's actually very easy to do. And here's what Blasmafet does.
All right.
It's an ally. It's a new type of card. We have allies now.
What?
It's a demon ally.
I knew that we had allies.
It's a shadow token with 6 attack and 6 life. Allies can be attacked, but cannot be defended with armor.
So 6 attack, 6 life.
That's right.
You can attack it, but I can't block it.
That's correct.
Okay.
At least with
Just
standard
make sure
armor
I'm hanging
symbols,
there,
you can. It says they are destroyed when they have taken damage equal to their life. At the end of the turn, heal all damage dealt to Blasmafet. So you have to do 6 in a single turn.
And you can't block it.
Apparently you can't. Now, maybe there are things that can, but you can't pitch out of hand to do that. I shouldn't say pitch. You can't block out of hand
So
for this ally.
you put this ally into play, which let me back this train up. Doomsday, 0 cost. You can play it if you have 6 or more blood debt in your banish zone. That's not hard to do,
No, it's easy.
especially with Levy, yeah? Then you create this token. So, and this is an instant.
Yeah. You can do it at the end of their turn.
Boom, create this thing.
They can attack it. So it's you got 1 turn where it's out.
What does it do?
Once per turn, it can attack for free, do 6. Does not have go again.
But if the 6 damage attack doesn't cost you a resource
That's
or a
right.
card.
So go again, attack, go again, attack, go again, attack, 0 for 6. Good turn. And then, not only that, but you get another free turn where they're not doing anything to you. So you get a full hand because they've got to kill this thing. Does that make sense?
Or they don't.
Or they don't.
And you just get a free 6 damage attack every turn.
That's right. And I don't think the math will ever work on that. Unless it's like very into the game and you got to be like, now's the chance.
If I spend my turn swinging for 6 against this, I'm giving you an open hand.
Right.
So there'll be turns where it's like, well, if you want to spend your time swinging for 6, I can block that. But I can't just let you have a free hand.
True. I mean,
This is awesome.
It's the kind of weird thing a demon ally should make you think.
Can I? Hold on, let me
Yeah,
go.
you can look at it. It's back in the back.
Okay, I'll wait till we get there.
Yeah, we're in the shadow pocket now.
Because I'm looking at this chain specialization. That's where I'm at.
The Eclipse one?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at Eclipse.
This is play mat. I'm happy I have it now.
This is similar. So it's a 0 cost instant. You've got to have 6 or more with blood debt in your banish zone.
Which is a higher cost for chain. Because chain doesn't have an ability to ignore those blood debts.
Wait a minute. And you can play this from your banish zone, which you cannot do for Doomsday. Doomsday is from hand. Eclipse is from
But that's
banish.
chain's whole thing.
That's
He
chain's
plays from banish. But you still have to get 6 with blood debt over there.
Yep.
And this is just sitting over there. The eclipse is waiting to happen.
And it's got to be in a single turn. You've got to play 6 cards. You have to have played
Oh, wait,
6 or
wait.
more cards from your banish zone.
With blood debt. Woo-wee.
Yeah. So you got to banish something, to pay a cost, and then get something with go again, and then you play the thing you just banished with go again, and then there
So you
it
need a
goes.
bunch of blood debt go again things from banish zone.
I would say that's correct. Or, make actions. That equipment made an action, I think, when things were banished.
Yeah.
You could have time snap potions. You know the drill. And then we get Urser.
Oh, you know what? Eclipse, you can play those from your hand. So any blood debt cards. This can be
Oh.
played from banish zone.
Oh.
But you can play blood debt cards from hand and banish zone, get into 6, and
Okay.
then boom, here
Any
comes
amount
Ursa.
of blood debt for 6
Yeah.
in a turn.
Okay.
Right on. And it means you're just like summoning the Soul Reaper, who looks amazing.
That promo of that card, I'm going to get it.
See that thing?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the cost, the effort. That's going to...
It's famous last word. So it's the same thing. It's a 6 attack, 6 health, 0 to attack for 6.
I got excited.
While it's attacking a hero with 1 or more cards in their soul, it has go again. So against light heroes, it has go again on the 0 for 6. That's amazing. Blasmafet, on the other hand, attacking something with, you can banish a card from their soul. So Blasmafet banishes from the defending hero's soul, and if they have a soul, Ursa gets go again.
So it seems like Levia / Blasmafet more controlling. Ursa / chain aggro.
It's just like, yeah, you're literally just a chainsaw.
I mean, this story writes
Chainsaw.
itself.
Call the deck the chainsaw.
The chainsaw. You heard it.
you've already-
Hold on, let me
you can
file
have
the
that for
patent,
free.
the trademark.
Somebody write me a check. I'll be here. Be here waiting.
All right. That's all it does.
Yeah, so those 2 big 6 damage attack, 6 life things can come out
Also,
from Shadow.
Eclipse is a legendary.
It is.
So 2 of the legendaries so far
Well, this is the story of the set in a lot of ways.
are Shadow specializations.
Yeah.
So I would assume we've seen those 2. Have we seen the other legendaries?
I feel like we saw all of
Is one of the armors a legendary?
I don't know. I don't follow that stuff. I'm not a Wall Street guy. I'm just reading the cards, man.
Well, I'm just now
You
seeing.
want to put them on my deck or not? Am I going to play them?
I think one of the equipments we've seen is legendary.
Yeah.
Was it that
sounded right.
big husk?
That sounded right. Steven, we'll get to those
Yeah,
2 specializations
carrion husk.
if they're in the Shadow pool.
The carrion husk.
Yeah, it's legendary.
Gotcha. Okay, so we've seen 3 of 6.
3 of 6. Do you think we'll see 2 light instant?
Maybe this is the Shadow set. Maybe the light instants don't come until the next set. The legendaries.
Well, we'll see. Well, let's keep rolling. Mutated Mass, a Shadow action. Now we're in the Shadow pool
Generic
of cards
Shadow.
here. Generic Shadow.
All right.
1 cost, star attack, star defense.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Anytime I have to calculate things like this, it makes my brain hurt.
Well, you can play it from your banish zone, so that's
Okay.
good. Mutated Mass's stats are equal to twice the number of cards in your pitch zone with different costs.
Not different colors,
Right.
different costs.
Pitch a 0, pitch a 1, pitch a 2, pitch a 3, 4 on both.
So ideally you
This is the finisher of the turn.
pitch 4 cards, play a bunch of stuff from Banish Zone, and then finish with this
Yeah.
at a 4
Yep.
times 2, 8.
Yep.
1 for 8, potentially.
Yep.
Or it's if you block with it, you need
It's
to
an 8.
pay for things on the blocking turn.
Yeah, true. Which maybe you'll do.
Defense reaction.
I mean, you've got to pay for this, so that's essentially worth 2 defense. So you pitch a card, play this from your banish zone. So it starts at 2,
Well,
right?
you don't pay to block with this. You can just play it as a blocking card.
Right, it's not a defense reaction.
So I assume you just play it as though it's in your hand from...
You've got enough instants, though. You've got Shadow instants that you can play on their turn. And then you can Mutated Mass for 4, probably, is what it usually looks like. I don't know. Don't block with it. Or do. I don't know. We haven't played it.
Or maybe you can't. Maybe you can just block from hand with this. You can't play it from discard pile to block.
Yeah, blocking with a card is not playing it.
Yeah, but if you block from hand and you pay to do a defense reaction, it maybe gets some defense, but...
Like Reduced to Run Chant costs you 1.
Suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, it's Mutated Mass. Big punching bag.
A 1 for 8 is why we're here.
Yeah.
A 1 for 8 that's a blue resource.
That is why we're here.
That's why we're at this party.
Shadow Puppetry, 0 cost, a red attack. The next attack action card you play this turn gains +1, go again, and if it hits, look at the top card, you may banish it.
Great.
Yeah, of course.
That's a great...
You're going to love that.
A 0 for... It's 2 defense is fine. That's the perfect rune card.
Tome of Torment, 0 cost card, red. You may play it from your banish zone, draw a card, Blood Debt. This is a great card, actually.
But no go again.
No go again.
So you need instance or the ability to give go again.
Yeah. But a free card. Don't sleep on it. Don't call it a comeback. Soul Harvest, Shadow Attack. This is a Levia specialization.
Wow.
6 attack, pitches for 3, 3 defense. Looks great. As an additional cost to play it, banish 6 cards from your graveyard. It gains +1 attack for each card with Blood Debt banished this way. So it could be a 12. If it hits a hero, banish all cards from their soul. They lose life equal to the number of cards banished this way.
That's great. So it's a blue with 3 defense.
Yeah.
Already
Start
notable.
there.
It costs 6, so it's going to be expensive to play. But potentially is a 12 damage attack.
Yeah. And you can banish a whole lot of cards. So, you know, all those cards that you banish, you play from the banish zone. You play an attack, it goes to your graveyard. So like all of those sweet attacks you played now go back to the banish zone to be played again.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing.
And then you can guarantee you're triggering Levy's ability again.
Yeah. 100%.
Yep, great card.
That's
Ooh.
yeah, cool specialization. Soul Reaping.
The art on this is amazing.
Similar template here, right? So this is all the shadow stuff. We're probably going to specialize in similar ways. Summon weird stuff. Maybe all the classes summon a different 6/6 creature that does something different, like all the shadow classes. That would be sick. And they all have this weird like 6/6/3 template attack.
Yeah.
So chain, you may banish one or more cards from your hand rather than pay Soul Reaping's money cost, which you probably will. If you do, gain 1 for each card with Blood Debt banished this way.
Well, so here's the thing. If you're playing this card, you banish a card rather than pay its cost, which is amazing because this is 6.
Yeah,
Costs
so
6.
basically it costs you 1 card banished.
Then you gain a resource for each one with Blood Debt.
So each one of them could basically, so if you need to get things into your banish zone so you can play them throughout the turn like Chain likes to do, I think it's a way to load it up, right? When it's attacking a hero with 1 or more cards in their soul, it has go again. So this is the anti-light.
Even against not, right? So a 1 for 6 and you're banishing. A lot of times you want stuff in the banish zone.
Yeah.
That's a great card.
Got a lot of utility here.
Yeah, because I'm picturing, again, I filter everything through, can I play this in Shiana, which I can. A 1 for 6 out of Shiana is great.
Yeah, true.
Just straight up.
Which is why we're all here, right? To play our Blitz Shiana decks.
Yeah, this is why I exist as a human.
Let's look at Shadow Action, Howl from Beyond. 2 cost red, you can play it from your banish zone. So a lot of these generic Shadow cards being able to be played from the banish zone is important.
Really
for Chain
good.
especially. Yeah. But Levia having some of this tech in the deck is probably going to be relevant.
Yeah.
So a 2 cost, 2 defense. The next attack is +3. Next attack action is +3. Go again with Blood Debt. Good standard pump from the banish zone.
And it's important to, because we talked about earlier, a 1 for 3. 1 for a +3 has a 3 defense.
Yeah.
So this is cost 2 and only blocks for 2.
All of these non-attacks on the block for 2. Welcome to Ranger.
But they are factoring in my mind, the reality that you don't have to play this out of hand.
Right.
So you literally get, it's kind of like 1 card less to play this.
Yeah.
And a card is potentially worth 3 resources. Otherwise, the defense shouldn't have to change, right? It's just the cost going up 1.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can pitch a blue, get this out of the discard pile without spending this as one of your cards, is why that, like, again, the math is checking out, but in like a very bizarre, different way.
It's totally checking out, yeah. It's really good. Okay, Howl from Beyond, love it. Math is checking out, as you say. Ghostly Visit, let's look at the math here. A 1/4/3, that's the good template. You can play it from your banish zone with Blood Debt. This is your most generically good attack that you're going to be playing.
1 for 4 from the banish zone that blocks for 3.
It's everything.
Yeah.
This card is everything.
Put it in the book.
Put it in the tea, man.
Print it.
Lunartide Plunderer, 3 cost red. If it hits a hero, banish it and up to 1 card from their soul. It's funny how it works in this instance. So banish Lunartide Plunderer and up to 1 card from the hero's soul. Don't banish the hero, which would be the end of the game.
I banished you.
Yeah.
3 for 7 with the 2 defense.
Just the 2 defense?
Perfectly fine shadow.
Yeah. I think that's very
So
reasonable.
we get the full spread.
And then Spew Shadow, also this full spread on these. A 2 cost red card, 2 defense, just an action. Choose an attack action card with cost 2 or less in your banish zone. Play it this turn. If it attacks a light hero, it gains +2. So good against anti-light, also good to play cards that don't have the I can play this from the banish zone text.
Yeah, but they have to cost 2 or less.
And that's going to be an interesting thing to balance in this deck. It's like, maybe you run all the Spew Shadows. The blue comes in with cost 0, yellow is cost 1 attacks, and then red is cost 2 attacks. So there may be decks here that don't run anything that can be played from the banish zone, but you run all these good shadow cards, and then you Spew Shadow to pump them out of the banish.
I do feel like this is pretty good out of Levia.
Yeah.
Because she has to banish random cards from a discard pile. This lets you play those, whatever cards you're playing that cost 2 or less from your banish zone.
That's correct.
I actually think you're totally right. The blue is probably the best one here. Because I picture like playing Scar for a Scars out of Levia. And it's like, this is a randomly good card. It goes to my discard pile. I'm going to randomly banish it sometimes. And it's like,
play it for 6.
pay 2.
Yeah.
I can play it now.
And it's 6 attack.
If they're attacking
+2.
light.
Ah, yeah, I guess light.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. You know, that old game. And then Eclipse Existence, we saw Ray of Hope already. So let's see, this is kind of the opposite. 0 cost, blue card. Whenever an attack you control hits a light hero, you may banish a card from their soul. If you do, they lose 1. If you have more life than an opposing light hero, you may banish an action card from your graveyard. Okay. So move something into the banish zone. they lose a life and a card from the soul. Interestingly, I think the light one was if you have less life, something good happens for you. And this is if you have more life, something good happens for
So
you.
they both want that same...
Setting up the shadow light mechanic of the kind of underdog versus the...
Yeah, it's like, if I have this in my hand, I want to have more life.
Yeah.
But that also means your instance working.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's very cool.
What a beautiful synergy, isn't it? And then finally, just a few generic class cards to finish things off here.
Okay, great.
Starting with the Ravenous Meat Axe, bring it on. A 3-cost, 2-handed brute axe. We're seeing a lot of axes in this set so far.
2 cost, 3 attack.
2 cost, I'm sorry, 3 attack. Once per turn, you can do that attack, and whenever you attack with it, draw a card, then discard a random one. If it's a 6 or more, it gains +2 until end of turn.
Wow, so a 2 for 5 maybe.
So the club is currently pay 2, do 4, but if you've discarded a 6 or more from any effect during the turn, it does 5 instead.
Yeah.
So it's a 2 for 5. Ravenous Meat Axe, also a 2 for 5, technically, but it gives you the ability to discard random cards on this attack itself. So is that more consistent? Is that less consistent? If you want cards in your discard anyway, is this what you're looking for? It's going to be great math, but again, it's math, and that's why we love it. Also, it's an axe rather than a club, and we might see attack reactions that hit axes rather than pummel on clubs.
Yep.
So we're going to have to do a lot of how is this going to work in the grand scheme of things.
That's really, really interesting.
Yeah, which I like very, very much.
Yeah, I like imagining a scenario where you would prefer this to the other one.
Yeah, there's a million scenarios where that would be the case.
Yeah.
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 Especially like stuff like if you need the discard trigger, but you don't have anything that discards things in your hand,
This
and
is
you can
it.
meat axe with go again somehow, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
now you're turned on for the
I
moment.
mean, even out of Reinar, right? It's like if you... Reinar presumes that you will discard first.
Yeah.
But if you're discarding a card from... A lot of his attacks discard. And
They do.
so a lot of times when you're playing the attacks, you don't also swing the weapon. So in this
Yeah, it's
case,
difficult with the card.
it's like, oh, if you had to block a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
like the only thing you can do is pay 2 and swing with the axe. You draw a card. If it's a 6, you're paying 2 to swing for 5. Whereas Reinar on one card with the other axe would not be able to do
It's
that.
the Romping Club. It's guaranteed 2 for 4 or conditional 2 for 5.
Yeah.
Love it. That's exactly what you're looking for in a game like this. 2 cost, blue, tear limb from limb, brute action. Draw a card, discard a random card. If a card with 6 or more attack is discarded this way, your next brute is +X, where X is its base attack.
What?
So it doubles the next attack.
Assuming 6 and 6, but it could be more than double. If you discard an 8, right?
It's no matter what it is, it's +X, where X is the base attack of the attack action.
Yeah, but if you discard an 8,
It's the attack action that you're playing, not the attack action you discard. You just need to discard a 6 or more, like all brute effects. It turns the effect on, right?
but is its base the base of the card being discarded or the card that is attacking?
The next brute attack action card is +X, where X is basically that attack's base. So I think it just doubles.
I thought it was referencing the discarded card.
I don't think so. Not typically. Not typically how it works in Fab. Just like the other thing, banish a hero and then you banish it and something else.
If a card with 6 or more is discarded this way, the next brute attack action card you play this turn gains +X, where X is its base. That's it. I could see it saying
no way.
either way.
All brute cards have the first clause, which is if it's a 6 or more, something happens. And then the something is in its own little world. In my head.
I trust you.
Must be.
It
must be.
That's just like I could see where people would get confused by that.
But what I'm looking at is that 8 damage Wrecker Romp. And I'm saying to myself, that
8
is
that comes
now
to 16?
honestly doing 16 damage.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a game winner.
especially if you intimidate a couple times.
Yeah. Man, so good on that Intimidate. And don't forget, the draw discard is going to trigger Reinar's Intimidate as well if you're on that train.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like
It's a big moment.
Chris saying he interpreted like I did. Kyle saying it's worded poorly, but it does just double the attack. So it could have easily also just said the next brute attack action card base attack is doubled.
Yes, but there's got to be a reason they're not doing that. Because double is the scariest word in the game. Free and double and triple, those are... I kind of like that they template it as just a static plus and minus on all accounts.
Yeah.
So that you're just like very clear it's plus attack. Which makes sense because like if I doubled an attack, did I give it plus X? Did I give it plus
Sure.
attack? That
Or
kind of
like
stuff.
if it says the base attack is doubled, it's
Yeah.
like, well, if a card references an attack with a base attack of something, is the base attack now double?
Yeah, good
Do
question.
you have to then say original base attack?
Yeah,
like
totally.
A printed base attack? Yeah, et cetera.
I thought about it.
I get it. They're smart.
Let's look at this red 2-cost pulping. Again, Jaguar getting wrecked. Draw a card, discard a random. If a card with 6 or more is discarded this way, it gains Dominate. So if you hit your Brute moment, it gains Dominate. When it's defended by less than 2, it has Go again.
So it's dominate.
It's almost always going to be a 2 for 6 with Go again and Dominate.
And yeah, it's going to have to go again because they can't.
Unless they have the defense reaction in Arsenal.
Yeah.
Or,
That's awesome.
Yeah, or something else. So it's just a great static
And that
attack.
comes in 3 colors.
Uh-huh. But the old Brute Dilemma, you probably are running in 6.
That's right.
That's
Yeah, I'm
what
with
talking
it.
about. Let's look at a couple of, now that was the Brute pocket. Now let's look at the Ruin Blade pocket. We've got a new weapon for all Ruin Blades, the Dread Scythe. A lot of controversy around this weapon. Okay. 3-cost attack.
I like that window in the background.
Whenever you attack with it, deal 1 arcane to the defending hero. So it's a 3 resource for 3 damage and 1 arcane. A hero dealt damage by this can't gain life during the next action phase.
So if either of those effects hit, they can't gain life.
The arcane damage is going to hit. No one's
Yeah.
blocking 1 arcane.
Unless
Not
they,
happening.
unless they, I don't know.
It's not happening.
Okay, so
So-
it's a 3 for. So
Compare this to the other one. What's that? What's the not Nebula? The other one.
it's a.
The can't nobody can heal card.
Yeah. Oh, the other Rune Blade Sword.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called.
Reaping Blade,
I think the Reaping Blade's the one that I've been playing.
the one where they can't heal.
The other one.
Nebula Blade.
One of them's
There's a Nebula and there's a Reaping Blade. I
Yeah.
think. Does chat have
Reaping
this?
Blade. People saying Reaping Blade.
So it says nobody can heal. And
Whoever has less life can't heal,
what's the
or more life. Whoever has more.
what's the math on it? Little FabDB moment.
Google DB.
Oh, look at you go.
All right, Reaping Blade, 1 for 3.
Mm-hmm.
If a hero has more life than any other hero, they cannot gain life.
Okay.
So this is 3 for 3
With an arcane damage.
with an arcane damage, and if it hits, they can't gain life during their next action phase.
No matter if they're higher or lower than you.
Yeah, so the Reaping Blade, though, is in a static always. As long as they have more life than you, they can't heal.
Yeah.
Not on your turn, not on any turn.
But that's also kind of not as useful, considering that, like, you probably, well, I guess that makes sense.
I mean,
Makes sense.
it is useful if they're playing Sigil Solace, Tome of Faendel, and like you just take some punches up front to build,
Yeah.
which Rune Chant normally does, right? Rune Blade, because they stack all the Rune Chants and wait to do a bunch of damage all at once. And it's a 1 for 3 always built in, which is nice. But the 3 for 3 and 1 is really interesting because they basically have to use 2 cards to not take damage from this.
And they won't. No one's using 2 cards to block this.
Yeah, especially if this
You
is like the
can't.
end of a chain
Yeah.
of stuff happening. And this is generic Rune Blade. So I might play this in Visceray.
I think it's great design.
Hold on.
Yeah, and the arcane damage, someone mentioned, and triggers some of those other effects. You just have to find a way to give this thing go again, which is not super easy. But especially because most go again references attack action card rather than weapon or attack, generic attack. But, you know, lead the charge and that kind of stuff. You can get into it,
Yeah. Interesting.
figure it out.
There for a reason. Oh man, this armor looks
The
great.
Ether Iron Weave, Ruin Blade chest, 1 defense with Battle Worn. You can take an action, destroy it, gain 2 money. Activate it only if you played an attack action and a non-attack action this turn. So you play a non-attack, then you attack, then you destroy it to gain 2 money. But both of those things have to have go again. So don't sleep on that. You're going to have to find clever ways to get actions in this.
Well, I mean that too could pay for.
But do
A
you
lot
run
of
this over
things.
Blood Sheath
I've run a lot of things over
or
Blood Sheath.
Tunic?
I think you're gonna have a very particular need for this.
Yeah, like a big turn. And some would argue that Chain would have that need, right? Where it's like you need the turn where you need money to play those 6 cards so that you can get
Yeah.
the soul man.
But like Skeletor blocks for 2, and then you get a free non-attack action basically and a free attack action.
that's tough.
That's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah. Hard to beat. But that's why we run different equipment to test. It's also common.
Yeah.
Vexing Malice, a standard Ruined Blade attack, 1 cost, 3 damage, 3 defense, deal 2 arcane to a target hero. This card is money in the freaking bank.
I love this card.
This card is so good.
Also, Mavrian Skies is a really classic 0-cost Runeblade card with Go Again that gives the next attack Go Again, and if it hits, you create Runechant tokens.
Right on.
So like that with this is actually a really good example.
Oh man, is that good?
This and a Consuming Volition.
I love Consuming
get
Volition.
out of
That's the
town.
best card. Is this art the strangest you've seen? Does it look like claymation to you? It looks totally like claymation to me.
Really? I
Yeah.
mean, a little bit.
Like a Wallace and Gromit moment here. The statue does, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It looks like a physical object that somebody took a picture of. Anyway, maybe that's just me. Moving down the line.
Moving along.
All
So,
right, so-
hey, even the yellow and blue of this is really good to me, which is the blue is a 1 for 1 plus 2 arcane damage.
That's actually very relevant, isn't it?
That's 1 for 3 with 3 block, and it's a blue, basically.
Yeah.
And to block it, they're going to have to pitch 2 cards. They're not going to do that.
No, they're not.
They're taking one or the other.
They're not doing it.
Yeah, so hit effects on this are actually particularly good.
That's notable. And then you can power your Reaping Scythe with that thing. It's a blue. So we've already made the deck. It's practically
Done.
built. All right, we got a few generic cards yet left. And I think we've done it. We've covered the current mania that
Literally-
is Flesh and Blood previews.
1 week of previews took us 3 hours to talk about.
Isn't that, and we're just talking about it. We haven't even tested the dang things.
And we've barely seen any of the cards.
Man.
We're like, maybe a third of the cards are revealed?
This is
There's
one of my
100 cards or
This is one of
something?
my favorite cards ever made.
Makes sense.
So I've
Checks
been
out.
dying to play all the bad 0 for 3 Go Again from Arsenal cards
Just waiting.
in Ranger, because that was the first Ranger concept I had.
Promise of plenty.
And then you blocked them all.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, you just block the 3s and none of the hit effects are ever going to work. Well, enter Stubby Hammerers. Generic Arm, destroy it. Attack action cards with 3 or less base power gain +1 while attacking this turn. Go again. Think about this in Bolton. So all those attacks are now +1, which means you can banish to give them go again.
Mm-hmm.
So all your 3s become really important. That's why we're looking at the 3 yellows. Were really important for that. So Stubby Hammer is pretty fascinating. A lot of speculation that there's a dwarf guardian or something coming in.
We've seen some stuff related to that, right?
We have, and we will absolutely see more of it in just a second. We've got a Rise Above generic defense reaction. Fascinating. It's 2 costs for 4, but you're probably never going to do that. Instead, you're going to put a card from your hand on top of your deck rather than pay the cost. Or, example, of when you need to pitch to get that weird instant thing on
Pay to play this. You have a card here. It's got more defense. You do
the
anything.
trash abomination or whatever it's called.
The garbage
trash,
man.
The garbage man.
A few things worth noting. One, this art, stellar. Just absolutely stellar. She's literally coming from, looks like the underworld up to the like bright, colorful earth.
And Sink Below, of course. Rise Above, Sink Below.
Yeah, so the put on top instead of put on bottom of Sink Below.
Yeah.
Very cool. I think that's a very awesome concept.
So this is obviously relevant for things that are wanting to look at the top card, banish the top card, do something.
This is, like, Wizard is obviously great. You put the card on top you want. Ranger is great because you put the card on top that you want. Even Chain, when you know what's on top that's going to get banished with his thing, is relevant. Because like the cost of this being, I put a 0 that goes on top that I know is going to get banished that I can play for free from my banish zone.
Yeah.
Like, that's really phenomenal synergy.
We've also seen a lot of cards that have reveal the top card, do X. So your Braces of Belief, your Ravenous Rabbles. So that's a mechanic that's in the game. So I just want to keep your eye on. Now the weird part of it is, I mean, you're paying 2 cards to block for 4.
Yeah.
And normally if you pay 2 cards, you're blocking for 6. So you're losing a card from hand and you're not replacing it. So you also are going to enter that hand with at least 2 cards.
Yeah.
Or only 2 cards. And so it's like, how much can you use the top card? Because the other can use it pretty well because her cost curve is so low.
I think people that can really make use of the top card, and even all the weird, I mean, it's everything. The brutes that you draw 1, discard a random. It's like knowing what that top card is actually supremely relevant.
Yeah, true. Like, actually, that's extremely true. Yeah.
It's
but then you're
cool
going
that
in with
there's
2 cards, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah. Or
Swing with that weird meat axe.
obviously you can put this in Arsenal. So then you're technically going in with 3 cards
Yeah.
if you
True
want to play
story.
that game.
True
So
story.
it's kind of interesting.
Let's talk about Belittle. 1 cost, 3 attack, 2 defense. Not the best stat line you've ever seen. As an additional cost to play it, you may reveal an attack with 3 or less base. If you do, search your deck for a card named Minnowism, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck, go again. So it's a 3 cost, 1 cost, 3 attack with go again.
Yeah.
And you're going to go get a Minnowism and reveal it. Now that Minnowism, as you know from Sunkiss, Moonwish, etc., could be a blue Minnowism for resources, or it could be a red Minnowism.
Yeah, what does Minnowism do? Let's
It's
just
in
get
here.
that. Also, you find that at least we have a dwarf on a card.
We've got more than one. Go look at Minnowism. You want to see it right here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's here to party.
Yeah. Dwarf. Watch out. Coming for your knees. It's a 0/2 defense generic. The next attack action card with 3 or less base attack gains +3 with go again.
So this has go again.
Yeah.
So you pay 1 to belittle. You show an attack that has 3 or less.
Like a Promise of Plenty.
Search your deck
the
for this.
Battlescape. Mm-hmm.
And that is a 0 cost go again?
Yeah.
With +3?
Yep. Just a pump for +3.
Or you go get a blue resource.
Right.
Okay.
And then you play your next 3 cost attack, and if it's from Arsenal, it has go again because it's Promise of Plenty, and it's 6. And then you can start chaining these things.
I also I will not get over the idea of a dwarf that is all 3 and less damage attacks.
Yeah.
He's like attacking down low.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like just weirdly, that's like
Yeah,
thematic
it's-
in
it
like
is
the most
very good.
bizarre way. I'm
Maybe
sure
we're getting Dwarf Ranger
that'd be hilarious.
with a crossbow.
He's a
Just sitting
Yeah,
down there,
just
loading it
doing
up,
his thing.
and then
So-
playing those cards.
I could also see Dwarf Guardian just based on the way this guy looks. But the idea of him hitting, I'm sure they were designing, and it was like they were ultimately designing a dwarf character. It's like, what could we do that would be really thematic?
It
It's
would
like,
feel shorter than normal.
what if it's all 3 damage attacks? It's like, that's so good. That's weird. I would die. Like if I was at a meeting, that's just like absolutely.
Absolutely right.
It's just such a satisfactory moment.
Speaking of 3 damage attacks, we're seeing a lot of them. Let's look at the Frontline Scout. It comes in all the colors. 0 cost, 3 damage, 2 defense. A classic template. You may look at the defending player's hand when you play it, and if it's played from Arsenal, it gains go again.
So 0 for 3 would go again with a little bit of peeky.
The peeky is important.
Yeah.
Actually, you see what they've got coming. You see what they could potentially block with. You see actually if they have no defense cards, and it's like, oh, they're sitting on like 2 defense and an instant. It's like, oh, let's start laying it on. Also, Chains of Imminence. If you want to go that direction, you could look at their hand and then tell them they can't play stuff.
I like the idea of this card. You drop it down to Arsenal, right? And like anytime you want to peek,
Take a little peek.
you can take a peek and a little swing that they're probably going to take some damage from.
Yeah.
Also, the art on this is just phenomenal. That shadow
so
in the
good.
background, that's what she's seeing and like losing her mind about.
Yeah, so good. You gotta see those demons and stuff. Let's go to Rally the Rear Guard. Comes in all the colors of the rainbow as well. 2 cost, 6 attack with 2 defense. But it has an instant ability on it, which I think is maybe the first time we've seen it on a card that you're playing. Discard a card. Rally the Rear Guard gains +3 defense, activated only while it's defending. So you defend with it, it goes in and resolves, and then it now gives you an instant that you can play onto that combat
Super
chain
good.
to give it +3. So it blocks for 5.
So incredible card.
It's a fun design.
2 for 6 generically, and then like a card that can be a 5 defense.
Against Dominate, etc.
Yeah, and like after you've seen what's going on, right? You block with this and a 2 armor, and it's like I'm covering up your 4, but then you play, and it's like, oh, I can.
Isn't this really good against Warrior?
So good.
Like you don't want to give them the 3. It is an attack, so it's going to trigger some abilities. But like even against Orinthia, like put a 2 in against Dawnblade, it's hitting for 1, or their second swing, it's hitting, and then you're like, you can't pump it, or I'll just discard a card. It's kind of a reaction speed thing. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I like the concept, right?
Very versatile card. Yeah.
And just showing us that you can put instant abilities on a defensive situation, super cool.
Yeah. Good design space, as the kids would say.
As the kids would say,
A
indeed.
few more left. Let's talk about Surging Militia, my favorite art in the game thus far. 2 cost, 5 attack, 2 defense. It has +1 for each non-equipment card defending it. So as they add a card, 1 card equals 6, 2 cards equals 7, 3 cards equals 8, and it is successfully blocked.
This
assuming they're
is a great card, and I love this art. The little kid with the little like
little pot on the
pan
head
on
there,
top
yeah.
of his head is hilarious. And the pitchforks.
Yeah.
But the fact that you play this and they're gonna have to likely to cover it up, block with 3 cards,
Yeah.
and then you just pummel it.
Yep. It's good. It's real good. I love this card.
Yeah.
We talked about Minnowism. Let's look at one of the final kind of recycly cards. Warmonger's Recital. 1 cost red. Beautiful card as well. Next attack action card you play this turn is +3. And if it hits, put it on the bottom of your deck.
That's good.
So, you know, as somebody who has dabbled in Ranger, the thing that comes to mind for me is like, I've got 3 Knock the Death Whistle in my Azalea deck. I can search for arrows, but they have to be in the deck. So you can put things in the bottom. Also, just keeping your life around. So like arrow cards in general for Ranger just go away.
You know, exactly what I'm thinking is Arknight Ascendancy.
Yep.
+3 has Dominate. If it hits, goes to the bottom of my deck because I also have Become the Arknight to go fish it out every time.
Think about those legendary specializations, 1 of in the deck. You play it with Warmongers, you can play it again. Yikes. Watch yourself.
Yeah, that's a card. Watch out for that card.
Check out this generic item. Yellow Talisman of Dowsing, 0 cost.
It's a great looking card.
Has Go Again and Spell Void 1. Strange. This card is strange. So you play it. It's not your action, so you can go again with it. But you bank a 1 arcane damage defense for later. Probably really good against that Reaping Blade, you know, like weird effects where they just do 1 arcane damage and you're like, I don't want that trigger to happen.
Well,
I'm going to put this down.
It's also good against current builds of Wizard. Not that that's necessarily a problem people are trying to solve, but if Wizard gets really good, there are turns where you only have Arcane Barrier 2 or 3. And it's like, sometimes you really need to stop that like
The 5th or the
extra
4th.
damage that you can't with your gear.
Yeah.
So it's very specific though. It's not inability to block is a lot.
But against Arcane, it can always block for 2 out of hand.
Yeah.
You know, pitch for 2 on the Arcane Barrier.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just a nice little, it's
feel
a
like-
good limited card, obviously.
Yeah, and limited is great. I think there are also characters like obviously Visceray who wants to play non-attack action cards to gain his tokens. So you're just stacking up, and like against Wizard, a lot of the stuff isn't as good that he would, like his defense reactions are bad.
Right.
So like there is that angle, but at the same time, like I feel like there's particular moments you will put this in your deck, if ever, and like it's a very specific situation.
We might find it.
Yeah. I won't
I'll
be
be
shocked.
looking for it
They're
because I
not
love
making
the
it for
art
no
on it.
reason.
I love the art on it. And I love whatever class talent combination is living in this space. Like a Savage Lands Wizard?
Sounds like Arya a little bit.
Memorial Ground. I believe this is the last one. 0 cost, generic instant. Put target attack action card with cost 2 or less from your graveyard on the top of your deck. Cost 2 or less attack action. You trade your card in hand for a card on the top of the deck that you want from your graveyard.
Seems good for Ranger.
Oh, it's great for Ranger. Yeah, it's great for Ranger. But also, anything that wants their attacks, I mean, like, it's kind of a little mini remembrance, and you get to see the card immediately. If you just leave it there and draw it next turn, it's like, okay, here's my Dominate attack that's going to end this game if you don't do anything about
Command and Conquer?
it. Yeah.
Instant, put it on top of my deck.
Yeah.
Now, it's
Pulping.
more interesting to me when you can do something with it off the top of your deck immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some synergy there.
Even Chain is really good for this. Put it on top of your deck, he's going to banish it, and you go do the whole thing.
I immediately go to my favorite back alley break line. It's a it's a 5 cost, it's a 5 attack that when you flip it from the top face up, like with Azalea's ability, it gives you an action point.
Yeah. The only downside of it for me is if you're playing this card, you have 1 less card in hand. The extra action point is usually on a turn when you're like doing a lot.
Yeah, I can do a lot with 3 cards.
I believe you.
Trust me.
I do.
Trust me, buddy.
Interesting.
Swing 2 arrows, maybe? I don't know.
You'd have to really want a specific card back or a specific card on top of your deck.
Yeah.
And in that case, this card's awesome. Now, what does the yellow do by comparison? A 1 cost or less. Okay.
Yeah. So you could run the blue if you're running all zeros, like your Azalea decks that are doing yellows and blues. I think this is a great card for that. but it doesn't have any defense. So, welcome to the club.
Yeah. Interesting.
We've done it.
It's great art.
Man, we made it through, everybody.
So that's like
incredible amount of previews, and we are not even, what are we, halfway?
That's like 40%.
40% of the set.
Yeah. We don't even know presuming there's only fourth class. And we still haven't seen a lot of the light cards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like we saw more shadow generics there.
We did see more shadow cards, I feel like.
Yeah.
Great examples coming from the chat. Katsu with the Mask of Momentum and ability can get the whole 4-attack chain with 3 cards.
Yeah.
The new Brute for 6 attack. You can put a 6 attack on top, draw a random card. Well, like it's a 6 attack.
You can also get the the 1 for 6 that is the promo.
Yeah.
The
Boneyard Marauder.
Yeah. It's a 1. Mm-hmm. Put it on top. And now Levy has got a 6 on top.
Levy with a 6 on top. What's up? Well, hey, thanks for joining, everybody. We're gonna call it a day. That was an incredible sprint through. So 1:30 to 4:30. That's 3 hours on these previews. That's crazy. I didn't even think it just flew right by.
It is 40% of the set, roughly.
Yeah,
that's a lot. And we have like all the mechanics working through how they work and all that kind of stuff. This is super exciting. So we're what is it? 20th? We are.
I believe Rudy's got the last heroes on Thursday.
Taco Man, eh?
Taco Man himself. 2 days from now, we will know the final hero.
That's going to be a lot of chatter on.
Everyone's going to be elated and disappointed, probably. People like, I wanted it to be X, and then other people like, it's X. Fine.
So let me tell you this. I believe we are 17 days from launch. We are actually
from first edition launch. Now the bummer of this: 3 weeks waiting on Unlimited is going to be absolutely devastating.
It's going to be more of a bummer because it's actually 4 weeks.
Yeah. It's 4 weeks, isn't it? Man, a month, you got to wait a month to get Unlimited? That's not ideal. Obviously, printing demands are a thing. You make the best. We did this podcast this morning, defining success, etc. There are always ways that you could have done something better. But take what you've done well and accept it, love it, and be happy about it. You got to be happy that first edition Unlimited is both very much in demand, and that we will all get this set without a 6-month delay like our favorite Star Wars Destiny.
And it's worth noting, side note, unrelated, apparently the Rudy preview's tomorrow because it's New Zealand time, so don't want to confuse people. Right. Tomorrow's the day. The success.
Unlimited
it's a great sign. The fact that about a year ago they were looking at no sales, and now first edition is completely sold out pretty much before it comes out. That's just a really good sign for the longevity of their capacity to support and make this game.
Yeah.
It is a bummer, but also what I was going to say is that we're 10 days away from pre-releases.
True.
And pre-releases is probably going to spoil the rest of this thing.
Oh yeah, they're gone. Yeah.
So we're only literally next Friday away from knowing pretty much the entire spread. But I'm going to be looking on that day, looking forward to just seeing people be like, look what I opened. They're just posting phone pictures. It's not even official previews.
Are we going to get that crazy full extended art twinning blade style card in this set?
I want a lot of that. I want like 4 or 5 of those in a set.
Yeah. 90s FM, I think they should release the same time like Magic, etc. I have every intention to believe that's the goal. But like I think if I'm in the meeting and it's like, okay, we can only print this much of this and this much of that, and the timelines will be slightly different, or we can do them in the same, but they have to cut first edition print run to get Unlimited at the same time, etc. Just remember, Pokemon's having problems. If Pokemon's having problems, the sky is falling. Though it's like the collectible card game industry is going insane if Pokemon's having problems. So I think just what the intention was and what actually happened, we don't know what the intention was. But do I think that Unlimited will get closer to first edition as we move forward? Probably.
I mean, even originally they had it a 3-week gap, and that was way faster than any of the other Unlimiteds.
Yeah.
Like Crucible is going on almost a year.
Yeah.
Arcane Rising was like 7 or 8 months. So
it does seem to be closing.
It got a lot shorter.
Yeah.
But I also, it's interesting because first edition, just the nature of the definition of that term, is the initial release wave of a product.
True.
So maybe they want, I don't know. I don't have the answer, but maybe they want to maintain first edition comes out, even if it's 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. They were already going to do 3, so it's not that far of a stretch. But really, if they came out at the same time, it's more of a collector's edition, and it's kind of what it is. But
kind of is, kind of isn't.
But usually, like in like the comic book world, the first edition is like the initial print run. which this could be, but if it's at the same time, it's really
It's not, is it?
not.
Yeah, it's just a special cold foil
Yeah.
edition of the game.
It's like we made a limited version of this that only so many people can get access to. But
I'll be looking forward to how it develops. Thank you guys so much for joining us. These are some, my initial, when I first started seeing the cards, I was like, oh man, is it too complex? Has it gone too far? And then you start to understand the pockets of design that everything's falling in.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, Shadow's just using the Banish Zone, and the classes are going to use it in different ways. And then Light is using the Soul, and the classes are going to use it in different ways. It's like, okay, I can appreciate that.
yeah,
It's still Flesh and Blood. It's still 1 for 4 attacks or your bread and butter.
Yeah.
0 for 4, incredible. Go again's important, yada, yada.
Well, in the moment we get away from smallish hands and attacks mattering, or even in Wizard's case where it's like resources for damage coming at you mattering, is when it's a problem. Like, but everything is still centering around that core one-on-one duel between two characters engaging in a fight.
Stick to the fundies.
Yeah.
I think we got some unlimited slots left. Anybody looking for unlimited boxes?
Yeah, some people are talking about the chat on
of
that.
Monarch. We do not think those will be around for all that much longer. So if you want them, now's a good time to hop in. And we will see you next week on another episode. What are we going to do next week?
I mean, I assume we're going to have about 70 more cards to look at.
There you go. 3 hours in the can. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.